Ready to get started. We don't have a gavel, so I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:35. Today is February 25th, 2026, meeting of the Coventry Planning Commission. I believe the planning director is going to come back with the gavel and the nameplates. Just give him a minute. All set? Sorry.
You mind take them back?
Just pass them down. We'll grab them as they go by. Whatever's easier. Yeah, just pass it down. Yeah. Huh? You don't remember? Kevin's not here. This is me, Mr. Kenny, Mr. Burke. Happy gavel. Good enough. Okay, calling the meeting to order, and now I'll take the roll. Mr. Price,
Here.
Mr. De Silva,
Here.
Mr. Kenny,
Here.
Secretary Burke,
Here.
Vice Chairman Studley,
Here.
Chairman, I'm here, Kalunian, and Kevin Ray's excused, and we still have 2 vacancies, so we have a quorum of 7. Next item, 6, I'm sorry. Emergency evacuation plan. In the unlikely event of an emergency, we have doors to the rear, which are the ones that you came in. If for some reason you can't exit through those doors, you can go through this door here, which will lead through the back, and there's an extra exit back that way. I'd like everyone to stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Okay. Without objection, we're just going to table item 5, which was the acknowledgement of the recently resigned planning commission members. 2 out of 3 couldn't make it tonight. Next item is approval of minutes from the January 28th, 2026 planning commission meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion by Mr. Price to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Kenny. Do we have any discussion, edits, or changes? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of administrative officers. This, I think, is just to solidify that we have administrative officers on staff and appointing them in those positions to sign plans and decisions, et cetera. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to appoint administrative officers, Doug McLean, Director of Planning, and Josh Chase, Principal Planner.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Kenny, a second by Mr. De Silva. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, item 8.1, 1-year extension request for amended master plan, Colaluca Estates, owner applicant John Colaluca. That's Assessors Plat 60, Lot 56 and 68, Lot 137.1 in the R20 zone on Metro Drive at Diane Drive. How are you? Good. Just for the record. Yeah, and just state your name for the record.
John Colaluca, 1 Diane Drive, Coventry, Rhode Island, 02816.
Okay, and we have your letter, and we also have a recommendation from the planning director. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Colaluca? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to grant the 1-year extension request to the amended master plan. That was approval on July 25th, 2007.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to grant the one-year extension request for Cola Luca Estates.
I got
I'll
a,
second it.
okay, we got a motion by Mr. Burke. We got a second by Mr. Kenny. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All set.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda, item 9, bond release. A discussion, vote, or other action. Recommendation of the town council for final bond release, Green Farm Estates owner D2 Homes LLC, North Road Land Company LLC, assesses plat 24, lots 18, 25, 26, 31 in the R20 zone, Minglewood Drive. Anyone here for the applicant?
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, I'm going to recuse myself from this application.
So noted, Mr. Studley is recusing himself from any discussion or action on this application. It's not required that the applicant be here.
It's not required, and I know that there may be representation here, unclear to me. It's not required, but if you have questions, it's helpful. Do you have any questions for staff on this one?
Do any of the members have any questions?
I do. Was stormwater part of the bond for this one?
Yes.
Has he met all of the stormwater requirements?
This has been inspected and is considered sufficient according to the town engineer's inspections for this final release of the bond.
Does any of this coincide with the problems that Coventry Housing is having?
No,
Not this, it's not this piece of the development.
correct. Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
And the town engineer recommends releasing the bond.
Yep.
He's met all requirements.
Yep.
I do have one question.
Sure.
Mr. Kenny?
It says there are two requested items that will not be satisfied until the bond's fully released.
You'll have to point out what page you're referring to, Mr. Kenny. Yep. First paragraph in there.
It's during the reinspection, 2 additional items were noted that needed completing prior to the release of the bond. One of these items, safety. The applicant was then notified. The applicant replied to the town that he would not complete the 2 requested items until the bond was fully released. No further communication was made by the applicant regarding completion of the outstanding work.
And then read that one last sentence, Mr.
Inspection of project once being observed, requested items. Okay, says, all right.
Yeah.
So I saw that also, but why didn't he come back and have that conversation with the town engineer? And what caused the town engineer to go and inspect it without even being informed that it was completed?
This one, the history was that about a year and a half ago, I would say about 2 years ago, we were considering a release of this bond through this body, had made a recommendation to the council, and then the council, in its own wisdom, sought some additional information. That began a process where the the Public Works Director had found some additional items, conferred with the town engineer. Those items were raising of some structures where they needed to be. And we were still in an inspection process at that point. The work was done to raise the structures, and there were 2 minor remaining items that you see noted in this memo. The 2 minor remaining items, one was to bolt down a trash rack as part of one of the pieces of infrastructure. The other was to remove a little bit of sediment that had gathered in one of the basins. These were seen as very minor. I mean, truthfully, a couple hours of work. However, I think the applicant at that point said, I don't wish to continue to do more work. I think I've done everything I need to do. And I said, well, until we feel the project has met the town engineer's inspections, we're not going to release. At that point, there was a lack of communication. And we, 1 year after that, so about 6 months ago, 6 to 7 months ago, I sent an email to the applicant to say, it's been a year. What's going on? Are you going to continue? Are you going to do the work or not? No response. No response from the applicant's traditional legal counsel. What had caused the engineer to go back out wasn't necessarily just this. They were just driving through the area and noticed that the work, the minor work they sought, was done. It's not clear to us why the applicant was non-communicative, and it's not clear to us why they did the work that was requested without notifying us. But where we stand is we have the work is complete. The town engineer has reviewed the entire site, feels very comfortable that the work is complete. So regardless of the communication with the applicant, we feel we're in a position to recommend a motion on this bond.
And just to clarify, I believe you indicated the board already did vote to make a favorable recommendation to the town council. It's just some things surfaced
Correct.
and the council did not approve it.
That's correct.
And now we need to make another recommendation to the council. We're not releasing the bond. We're just making a recommendation to the council under those facts.
That is
So they
correct.
can still investigate or take any action they see fit if they want to talk to the town engineer further.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion on this matter.
Chairman, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to release phase 1 and phase 2 of the current retained bonds in conjunction with Green Farm Estates, Assessors Plot 24, lots 18, 25, 26, and 31, Minglewood, Coventry. Phase 1 bond to be released is $99,886.00. And phase 2 bond to be released is $68,362.00, for a total amount released of $168,248.00. This will zero out the balances for both phase 1 and 2.
And to
Have a
be,
motion by Mr. Kenny
to be
make a
clear, that motion was a, not a motion to release, but a motion to recommend to the council.
favorable recommendation.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. Kenny.
Yep, we have a motion for a favorable recommendation of the town council by Mr. Kenny. We have a second by Mr. Price. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries 6-0. Okay. Can you just see if Mr. Sully is available? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is 10.1 Revity Energy LLC for office space. It's a master plan, major land development. The owner of the property is Star Resolute LLC, applicant Revity Energy LLC, and this is Assessors Plat 5, Lot 14-1 in the Business Park Zone at Center, New England. Anyone here for the applicant? Good evening.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. My name is Julissa Arce, legal counsel on behalf of the applicant. We have the applicant here with us today, along with our project with one of our engineers. So just for the record, Julissa Arce with the law offices located at 100 Westminster Street, Providence, Rhode Island. And so we're here before you for a master plan. We're really excited for the business to propose their new office building located at Zero Center of New England Boulevard, AP 5 lot 14-1. The actual lot is a vacant lot and it consists of approximately 3.1 acres. And with this time, they currently have their current offices, and they'll tell you about it as well in Cranston. And so moving to Coventry will be a great opportunity for their work. So we originally submitted in terms of procedure back in January, on January 30th. We had our TRC meeting on February 17th. There, we had a couple requests to revise the plans where we provided conceptual landscape plan and included some minor details in terms of the height of the building, which will be like a one-story building compliant with all of the zoning requirements. And we also added a concrete pad to address where the trash area would be located in response to the town engineer's request. With that information, we would like to go ahead and welcome the applicant to provide some more details on the plan. And with understanding that the application is currently deemed incomplete as it includes a waiver request. And so we would ask you at the end of your review to vote on approving the waiver request for the Class 1 survey, which will be conducted prior to preliminary plan review. Thank you.
Thank you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Ryan Palumbo. I'm the applicant and one of the principals at Revity Energy. Revity is a local family-owned business, consists of myself, my three siblings, our father. We've been in the real estate development business for a little over a decade now. Our primary focus is renewable energy, ground mount, and rooftop solar. Just here to make an introduction. We're excited for this opportunity. I'm actually a Coventry resident myself. I'm a neighbor to this area. Myself and another one of my siblings live right off of Hopkins Hill Road in Pine Ridge neighborhood. Happy to bring this opportunity here. We have been in Warwick for the past decade, our corporate office. We started with approximately 3 or 4 employees. Today, we've grown to a little over 30 employees with aspirations to continue growing. This building here presents a great opportunity for us to do that in the town of Coventry. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have for myself. Otherwise, I will pass this to our engineer who can kind of walk you through the details of the plans.
Does anyone have any questions now? You want to go to the engineer? Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is David Russo. I'm a professional engineer and a project manager with Revity Energy. So as stated, we're showing on the plans in front of you, it's a master plan, it's conceptual. We're showing a 15,000 square foot office building. The office building is located on Assessor's Plat 5, Lot 14-1. The property to the north is currently vacant. And I believe there was an application that went through the town for a project there. To the south of us, there's a strip business, a commercial business, and then across the street is a granite business. We've shown on our plans the proper parking, and we've added the dumpster location. And one of the other comments during TRC was along the front of this property, there's no sidewalk, but there are sidewalks that go to it and then stop. And then our property's vacant. The next one's vacant, but then there's sidewalks up. So we're proposing to continue our sidewalk along the front. And then we're showing on the plans, we were asked to provide a landscape plan, but it's a little premature for that just because we don't have final architectural plans and a solid layout. So we did show a 10-foot landscape strip along the front, which will continue the style of landscaping that's currently on Center New England Boulevard. We have talked to KCWA. They provided us a letter that water is available. We've also talked to the town engineer who said a sewer connection shouldn't be an issue, but he said they're still working on an analysis for that. So when we get into the engineering of the site, we'll work closely with them. It sounded like the analysis was more where the sewer was going, more than if capacity was available. We'll have to work with DEM to get a DEM permit. There is a stream located to the southeast of the site. More than likely, I'd lean towards we're going to need a wetlands permit, but it's unclear until we actually locate that in the field. There is an existing detention basin northeast of the site that was overbuilt or designed for full build out of this area for 90% coverage. So it will handle our stormwater. We will have to treat our stormwater for water quality on our site, and that'll go through a review process with DEM and the town engineer. So any comments they have, we can address. We're currently working with Dupree Engineering on getting a Class 1 survey of the property, and we'll work with John Carter and Associates on a landscape plan. So we'll have a much more detailed landscape at the preliminary plan. And then lastly, we're working with Crossman Engineering to have them prepare a traffic report for the property. Very little traffic for this type of road out there. You got 4 lanes, 2 in each direction. But Crossman Engineering is doing some traffic analysis in the area. So we've contacted them to do a report for us to make sure that we're not going to have any impact. So as I stated, this is really still at the conceptual level, seeking master plan approval. Assuming we get that, the next step would be to start the engineering of the site and come back to the board with a preliminary plan with a lot more detail than currently provided. I'd be happy to answer any questions the members may have.
I had one quick clarification, Mr. Russo. You said that that preliminary, you'll be coming back and looking to manage the stormwater through an offsite basin. Is that through agreement with the other property owners?
They are the plans to the, I think it's northeast. I think there was a project called, I think it was referred to as Steve's Bounce House. We need access to get to that pond. Crossman Engineering did the engineering for that project. And on those plans, which Town of Coventry, I believe, approved, there was an easement that they allowed for our water to bypass their site to get to that pond. So we'll have to work on that with them to get to that pond. But the intent of that drainage basin was to control the future build out of this area.
Interesting. Okay. And since that point, some of the properties have changed hands. So I think that sounds sufficient and suitable, but obviously it'll be a unique approach to stormwater. We're going to be looking for the easements and demonstration of, the intent. So that'll be stuff we're looking at prelim plan.
Makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. Russo.
Yeah, I have one question. You
Go ahead.
talked about the traffic study, minimal impact. Is that not road going to open up going into center of New England?
That is correct. We will be looking for a traffic study on this at the next stage of review. One of the components of this current site is that it is near an area where we do anticipate, not related to this project, but related to the wetlands crossover. There will be a great change in the flow of traffic to and through center of New England Boulevard. That actually is particularly why we think it's more helpful to push the traffic study to a later date. It's unclear exactly when that crossover may be complete and when there may be data and an ability to do traffic counts of that. It should be known that crossover and any data that could come from that's not to be meant to hold this up, but it makes a lot of sense to delay the traffic study into a later stage because of that. At this stage, an office that is generating, office level traffic on a roadway that does seem to be sufficient. We did not have concerns at this point, but it's worth studying once we have a different traffic dynamic out there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have any questions for the engineer? Is this planning director's report, everything that he just said with regard to those permits and approvals still current as far as the waivers go and the conditions for approval? I just want to make sure.
I would suggest taking 2 motions. One would be to specifically consider a motion on, at this stage, waiving the requirement for a Class 1 survey as part of a master plan for this. This site is not particularly tight. There were not areas where we were concerned that a Class 1 survey would have yielded a different type of overall conceptual layout. We were comfortable with that, but I think that's a unique for a project of this size. It's unique not to have a Class 1 at master, so we wanted that to be something you considered specifically. If you consider that positively, then the other motion is basically to consider the findings and the content and analysis in the report as part of your motion. The traffic study coming at prelim was something we contemplated, and there's no stormwater here, so the references to what they're going to do for stormwater at the next stage won't change anything in this report.
And wetlands, same thing, right?
Same for
Same
wetlands.
thing.
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. And you guys are familiar with the planning director's report and the waivers and okay, we're good. Just wanted to make sure. Last go round. hold on. Sorry, hold on, I just want to get something. Okay, this is a public hearing, so I just want to make sure, could I have a motion to open public hearing?
Make a motion to open.
Get a motion to open public hearing?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Price, a second by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak for or against the application that's in front of us for master plan approval? I don't see anyone. Cody, is there anyone on Zoom? Anyone on Zoom that wants to speak on this application? Raise your hand, please. Don't see anyone? Okay. I don't see any hands on Zoom. There's no one in the public, so I will entertain a motion to close public hearing. Motion to close public hearing,
Second the motion.
second by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Okay, last call. Any members on the board have any other discussion or questions before we move to a motion on this matter? Okay, I will entertain a motion on before we make a motion on the major land development, then we want to do a separate motion to allow this applicant to defer the class 1 survey requirement to preliminary plan submission.
Yes, and I'd actually ask, refer to it as a waiver on checklist item number 34 until the next stage of review.
Okay. So we'll entertain a motion to that effect if someone so chooses.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. Project name Revity Energy LLC office space, plan type major land development master plan, owner Star Resolute LLC, applicant Revity Energy LLC, address 0 Central of New England Boulevard, portions of Assessor's Plat 5, Lot 14-1, zone BP, lot size 3.1, existing use vacant, proposed use office space. Applicant proposes to construct a new 15,000 square foot, 150 by 100 feet office building on the currently vacant land, 3.10 acre lot. My motion is that we allow deference of this applicant to preliminary plan of checklist item number 34, class 1 survey.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Kenny. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. De Silva. Any discussion further? None. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. And now a motion on the master plan approval, please.
Mr. Chairman, motion number 2, project name Revity Energy LLC office space, major land development. Master plan Star Resolute LLC, Revity Energy LLC, address 0 Central of New England Boulevard, Assessor's Plat 5, lot 14-1, zone BP, lot size 3.1, existing use is vacant, proposed use office space. The applicant proposes to construct a new 15,000 square foot, 150 foot by 100 foot office building on the current vacant 3.10 acre lot. I make a favorable motion and I'd like to include the staff report and the condition of approval from back.
I have a motion by Mr. Kenny for approval of the master plan for this project. Do I have a second?
Second the approval.
A second by Mr. Burke. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Next item, 10.2 Summit Commercial Condominiums. Master Plan Major Development, 28 Summit Road. Good evening, Mr. Cronin. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good.
Thomas Cronin, Nolan Bernero, Cronin Farrar, 1070 Main Street for the applicant. So another master plan application. Summit Commercial Condo, 28 Old Summit Road, AP 316, Lot 27. It's zoned Village Rural Commercial. It's currently 6.8 acres of vacant land. It's located on Route 117, just west of the Route 102 runabout. It's about 400 feet or so west of that roundabout. And it's located on the south side of Flat River Road or 117. Both Route 117 and Old Summit Road are state roadways. The area itself is a mix of commercial and residential uses. Surrounding this particular parcel is mainly residential. There's residential on Old Summit Road to the west and across Route 117 to the south, and some residential as well further south. There's the parking area for the Summit General Store is adjacent. The primary physical feature of this lot is a stream that runs through the center of the lot. And there's an associated wetland with that lot. You can see, as Cody puts the map up, it's outlined in blue and some associated buffers in green, cuts a pretty good swath through the middle of this property. 50-foot wetland buffers apply and a 100-foot stream buffer is noted. So the proposal is to build 2 commercial condominium buildings in the northwest corner of the property. If you're looking at this map, it'd be the bottom right corner of the property where Old Summit Road and Flat River Road meet. The 2 buildings proposed are 12,000 square foot building that will have 12 bays with garage doors, and a smaller 6,250 square foot building with 5 bays, also with garage doors. The larger building would be closer to 117, and the smaller building more central southerly on the lot. A commercial equipment garage is a permitted use in the Village Rural Commercial Zone. The proposed development structures and associated improvements conform to the dimensional requirements of the VRC zone. So we meet frontage, area, setbacks, and lot coverage with this conceptual design. So parking, driveway access, utilities will be from Route 117. Excuse me one moment. Cody, could you put up page 3? Oh, my apologies. And could you put up the project? Thank you. Helps me. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, I apologize for addressing Cody directly. I shouldn't have done that. My bad. So, as you can see on the proposed conditions, map parking, driveway access from Route 117 only. So, no driveway access to Old Summit Road or anywhere else. The drainage, which you can see in blue on this conceptual map, is to the east of the improvements, between the improvements and the wetland and stream. The existing well is located in the center of the lot and will continue to be used for that purpose. And the OWTS is proposed in the northwest corner. So if you looked at this map, it's in the far bottom right-hand corner, adjacent to the driveway and the landscape buffer. So we have parking proposed that meets the standards required. We have 34 spaces, 2 spaces per bay. You have some architectural design in your package, but you can see it's steel frame buildings, 23 feet at the peak. Proposed color is dark gray, and the doors will be facing north and south. So no garage doors facing Old Summit Road. The doors will either face Flat River Road or face the other doors. So nothing to the side. Proposing a landscape buffer, as you can see in the neon green. Sam got a little creative with that. And that's, let's see, west along Old Summit Road. So the idea is to keep as many of the existing trees as we can as we do the construction of this project, and then supplement with some evergreens for additional buffer and some visual screening. So we're at master plan, so we have outstanding requirements. And before we come back for preliminary, we're gonna have to head to DEM, obviously, for OWTS, a RIPD's permit, and wetlands. And in addition to that, we'll need a DOT curb cut to enter and exit onto Route 117, and Western Coventry fire approval. So we're at master plan, and that's the general conceptual plan. We were here December for pre-application, and really not too much has changed since that meeting. We have been through TRC, taking those comments and tried to integrate them. The one thing from TRC that we're still working on is a loading area. That's the outstanding item. So I'm willing to entertain any questions the board might have.
Does anyone on the board have any questions before I open the public hearing?
Cronin, landscape buffer, what's the plan for the front of the building that's facing 117?
So in our description of the project, we have offered to put in some landscape buffer there. But the area where we want to put it is also in the state highway right away and in the area of the septic, the OWTS. We're a little bit wait and see on that. We do want to extend the landscape buffer around that corner, wrap it around. But that'll be subject to some state permitting as well.
And I would assume the trees in the back portion are gonna stay, because there's a number of houses back there. There's a cemetery back there. There's no plan to get rid of any of that buffer, natural buffer that's there right now between the building and the homes.
That's correct.
How about lighting? What's the lighting situation going to be as far
So-
as neighbors are concerned?
Sure. So the project calls for downward lighting, night sky lighting, that they call it. But of course, the staff has called for a lighting study. So that is an element that they have requested for preliminary plan that we will have to conduct. These are not very tall buildings, and it's probably the lighting will be attached to the building and pointed downward. I don't expect any larger totem pole street lamp type lighting at this site. I think it's going to be located on the buildings and directed downward. But the staff has recommended a light study, and we'll conduct that study.
Gentleman, Glenn Anderson, comments that he sent via email. Do you have a chance to review those?
Have not seen them or had a chance to review them.
Named somewhere before, but.
His credibility is suspect.
Yeah, he's got a couple of things about vegetation buffers, green giant, building color, height, and underground power line. But just I'm sure the planning director will provide you with it.
He's going to give me your copy. Sure, we'll take those comments into consideration. So probably the next point of review, other than permitting, will be back to technical review committee with the town staff before preliminary plan. So we'll integrate these comments at that point. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, so just to kind of dovetail that, I didn't know whether it was appropriate to bring that up now or closer to public hearing, because he did just basically submit what amounts to be written. But do you know if underground utilities is an option? He alludes to the wind turbines. I believe that's kind of like, that's not a public line, but is underground utilities a possibility for the site?
I don't see why not. We're coming off Flat River Road,
Okay.
where there's no wetland or wetland buffer between Route 117 and the proposed improvements. I mean, that would be the only thing that would significantly hold us up.
Yeah. And he was, he's looking for green giants along 117. What I did notice, and I think you alluded to it, what is the status of the loading spaces? Because on one of the documents, it looks like they're shown along 117, right where the landscape buffer would go. And I don't know which plan that was. It's in one of the plans in the past. It's on this plan that's shown up here along right behind the state highway line. It's not they're not shown on that plan. So I don't know,
Sure.
where is the where do you anticipate those now?
I'm gonna have Sam
Oh, sure.
Warsa from Coventry Survey and Design come up and answer that question. Name and address for the record.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. Sam Swarsa, Coventry Survey Company, 46 South Main Street, Coventry. Yeah, just at the TRC meeting, we had some planning suggestions about loading spaces, as one of the requirements for the project. So we did revise the plan the end of last week, but obviously Tom Cronin didn't get that plan. Yeah, we're showing those loading space 1 kind of near the detention pond, close to the rear building. And then there's 3 more that are up by the road. We didn't edit the plan to kind of add those in. We just,
No, that's fine. If what's shown on this plan set is what you're proposing in response to the TRC, I think it conflicts with, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cronin, the thought that you might be able to provide a landscape buffer along 117 outside of the state right of way. Well, that's where he has the 3 loading spaces.
so the main reason for the landscape buffer along 117 was mostly because of the house that sits on the corner there, Susan Bowen. So that we weren't proposing that landscape buffer to go all the way across the frontage. It was basically maybe that first 50 or 100 feet where the pavement doesn't exist between, the corner of the parking area and Old Summit Road. That was kind of where we were. The stretch of the buffer would basically, the neighbor's house would have the view to these buildings, and then after that, his woods would cover, cover that site. It wouldn't affect the visibility as it exists right now.
I can't speak for Mr. Anderson because he's not here, but it seemed to
Okay.
me the way he's shown on his plan, which Tom has, is he's looking for a buffer along 117 so the motorists don't have to see a commercial structure in that part of town.
Yeah, and the other note we had was we sent some pictures in some kind of Google screenshots showing that there is a very large row of white pines there that exists on the roadway that we were hoping not to affect those in our construction. And it seems like we can probably keep those because they're closer to they're more in the state highway line. So that's the kind of the goal, is to keep that that row of existing pine trees as a buffer. But adding more buffer, I think there would be a space to put some green giants between the highway line and our proposed pavement. Most of that area.
Do you think the rear and the buildings are set back from 117 as far as they can go without, like, would another 10 feet going to jeopardize your application as far as wetlands goes and things
Yeah,
like that?
we're right up.
You're
yeah,
right up
against
up to the buffer.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know Mr. Cronin referred to a grayish building. He's looking at, I can't speak to why he suggested dark green or dark browns. Again, I guess that's just semantics, but anyway, I just wanted to make sure we got those out there because
Okay.
this is a public hearing. So we'll leave it at that.
Thanks.
Through the chair, just a few comments.
Yes,
from
sir.
Staff. It was noted that at TRC, staff caught that there were not loading spaces shown on the plan. When they added those loading spaces in, they did not expand the paved area at all. So really, they're just obligating certain areas of what was proposed as pavement to designate as a loading. To be quite frank, these types of sites and this type of use, the loading tends to happen in front of the unit, but particularly from code compliance, they need to show a designated loading space on the plan somewhere that is not in conflict with the parking areas. So we did not strongly feel as though they needed to expand pavement. We felt that this was suitable. It should be noted that it's our understanding that in front of the site, there is a pretty significant buffer. There is a good chunk of that buffer. When I say along the front of the site, I should be talking about the Flat River Road frontage side. A lot of that does include trees within the state right-of-way. So I think we were anticipating that we're taking advantage of maintaining those trees, not disturbing those trees. And we do have a condition of approval to bolster any additional tree plantings around the Flat River Road. I do agree there's a neighbor across the street, and that's one concern, but the others is just the streetscape view. So even when we looked at this, we had an idea of there's a particular gap in plantings near where the basin is. This large blue basin, no plantings in front of that. Even we thought that could be a viewshed issue as cars are driving up and down Flat River. That's still a preliminary plan design detail we anticipate looking at when it comes back to us, looking at bolstering the views. I think they've done a great job along Old Summit Road, where there is the closest abutters. We still want to see some good buffering on the other side, but we think what they've given us at this point is a good point of buffering to work with.
Yep. Okay. I just noticed that there was the conflict between what was shown as the loading spaces and what.
Yep.
The comment that we got from the public and Mr. Cronin's.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's all. Anyone else? Okay, this is a public hearing. I will entertain a motion to open public hearing.
Make a motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Price to open public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We get a second from Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak on the major land development at 28 Old Summit Road? Cody, anybody on Zoom? I don't see. If there's somebody on Zoom that wants to speak on this, please put your hand up. Perhaps one hand. Oh, yeah. Lisa Massey, if you can hear us, please turn your mic on and state your name and address for the record.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Lisa Massey, 31 Old Summit Road.
Hi.
I just have a couple of questions. I guess I'll start by just commenting that I appreciate, the trying to move the bays but not facing towards our house and the buffer zone and as a few things that you have done. So I do appreciate that. And moving the main entrance out to 117, I think makes a lot of sense because Old Summit Road is very narrow. My house was built over about 150 years ago and it's close to the road. So, we're dealing with this old village that we have had. So I have just a couple of questions. My first question, when I was looking over some of the documents submitted, I'm noticing that the septic plans are from 2006 and they're from a different structure. Are those the plans that you're accepting for this project?
We'll note your questions and then I'm going to let the applicant respond. But just for clarification, are you talking about the proposed on-site wastewater treatment system that's shown on the plan at the intersection of Old Summit Road and Flat River Road?
Correct.
Okay.
It's on the meeting minutes for tonight. It was part of that package when I clicked on the different documents that were there.
Okay, the applicant will respond to the question is it, well, he'll respond as to far as whether there's any existing or what is proposed for on-site wastewater treatment.
Thank you. Can I just continue with a couple questions and
Sure.
then let him respond?
Yeah.
So my next question is just regarding hours of operation. Would they need to conform to the regular general business guidelines for hours of operation, or would this be accessed at any time of day or night? And my third question is, it's put in here as a use of a storage facility, and I'm just, I guess, questioning if that is all it's going to be is just for sole storage of vehicles, or are these units then, could they be used as like workshops where we might hear, machinery going on throughout the day? And then I have one more question. Will there be floor drains in these units? And where will they empty out into? I'm just generally concerned, obviously, about noise, and especially outside of business hours. And, we run a farm here, so, we have things too. And finally, just impact to the wetlands. And, we're all on wells here, so the runoff water, and then also finally impact of the runoff water, because it is prone to flooding, that brook that runs through the property. I've had years where, you know, my entire field floods. So that's something just I want to throw out there for consideration. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for your comments, and we'll wait to the end of the public hearing and then we'll let the applicant respond. Next hand, Cody. Samantha Sargent, can you hear me?
Hello.
Samantha, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, my name's Samantha Sargent, and it's 285 Logbridge Road.
Okay.
So basically, you know, the concept of commercial condos would appear to be a good one. However, these that are being presented forsake the health and well-being of the present residents, the wildlife, and the area activities, such as the bike path, all for the wealth of a business person, I might add. The current use of the lot, as you know, is village commercial. The purpose of the village commercial district is to provide land use according to the comprehensive plan for less intense type of land uses, which would mean retail services, light industrial, which would mean, you know, Casella's Lumber has been here for, you know, God knows how long, you know, and it's a mixed use, but it's supposed to have particular attention to the preservation and the enhancement of the visual, traditional, and historical character of the vicinity. Development like this, you know, it goes against it. There's no goods or services being provided. It's garages. It's for construction equipment per their plans. It says for vehicles 4 ton and more. A more appropriate area would be the industrial areas of town, which are meant for manufacturing, warehouses, storage. Summit Village is mainly residential. Part of this kind of goes to the special planning district, you know, which provides flexible land use categories. This is a special impact to this area and this community though, and its location is visually prominent. The design and the layout of buildings in this, you know, kind of go against the area standards. It's more of a strip development as well, which is strongly discouraged in the western end. Commercial businesses out here are discouraged. The infrastructure out here, we don't have sewers. Everybody's on wells. There's not streetlights. You know, there's not proper infrastructure for this. There's no sidewalks. You have a high traffic area on 117 down to the Rotary on 102. So, you know, I would suggest a traffic study be done. I would suggest sidewalks for pedestrian safety be done, especially with the bike path. Like I said, there is a high volume of foot traffic in this area, cyclists, equestrian uses. You know, this is an agricultural overlay area as well. There's bus stops to consider that are right there. Hours of operation, as Lisa said, you know, I would say maybe altering that. I know it says 7 a.m. I would suggest a start time of 8 a.m. They'd be standard to 6 p.m. With, you know, locked gates and, you know, things where people can't get into, you know, area kids can't get into trouble and get hurt. I would also suggest increasing the buffer zones from 20 feet to at least 40 feet, considering this is a residential area. You know, and I do think a buffering zone on 117 is necessary for noise mitigation, light mitigation, and spillover. Also, some of this, the engineering studies, you know, should impact additional, like Lisa said, wells into the aquifers in the area. This is going to increase water table due to the additional septic water. It will, you know, it'll be a strain on the wetlands to the whole area with stormwater runoff. The on-site wastewater management, like she said, is, you know, it's dated for another project, not this project. And I question the size of it being that close to the house on the corner of of Old Summit and 117. You know, this is a big strain to the area and the water table. You know, everybody depends on wells. So you've got 17 garages you're proposing that are going to have water. Are they going to be washing machinery? What are they going to be doing? Nobody knows the water usage. Beyond that, the use in general of storage they propose for construction equipment and loading of materials, or you know, what's that going to be? What's the storage hazards? What is the waste management going to be? Is it going to be hazardous waste being disposed of there? You know, the town has ordinances as it has to originate in town and whatnot. So I have a lot of questions here. I just don't think it's an appropriate use either. And also, you know, the wetlands, I wonder why the town did not purchase it. As you know, in the comprehensive plan, it states, you know, where possible, the town or a profit conservancy group should purchase wetlands for protection. You know, there's a lot of wetlands over there. You know, a soil and sedimentation plan, I don't see one. So lots of concerns. Huh?
I said, are you all set?
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I didn't have my mic on. My fault.
Oh, that's okay. I think so. There's probably a lot more that I can't think of at this moment, but those are some of the biggest ones. You know, is minimizing the sign and the signage, lighting. You know, again, it's a residential area, and Village Commercial was aimed at the Village of Summit, which all businesses are supposed to face towards the village, not away from the village. But it was meant for goods and services of the area, mainly dating back to train services. You know, but it's not a bad development project. I think it's in the wrong area. It needs to be directed towards the industrial or the general business areas of Eastern Coventry, as to preserve the rural aspect and agricultural things that are done in the western end. So that's that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else on Zoom? I don't see any more hands. Okay, last call for the audience. Any comments? All set? Anyone on the? Oh, got a hand. Okay. Is it Cheryl?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
Could we just get your full name and address for the record, please?
Sure, my name is Cheryl Kane, 185 Reed Schoolhouse Road. The reason why I'm calling is I just do feel that since we are developing all the land in Coventry recently, I feel that we have to increase our buffers, and we also have to talk about different kinds of buffers. Buffers as made of them covered with the foliage.
Yeah, your mic's breaking
Because
up.
I
You're
think when it
cutting out.
comes to all the no. All right.
We're only getting
When's the
like
last
every
time you
other.
heard me?
We're only getting
Oh,
like
okay.
every other word.
Okay. All right. Where do you want me to start from? I just feel the buffers need to be increased. They need to be talked about and changed. I think that we need to do what other states do when they have these large developments or businesses. They now encompass them with either some kind of structure that is continuous, as in made of cement, concrete, steel, and then they cover that with foliage, as in the trees or such. And this would create less noise from that, whatever you're doing in that neighborhood. And I think that this really needs to be talked about when it comes to our buffers. I feel they do need to be increased and not decreased in any way. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Cheryl. All right, anybody else on Zoom? I don't see anyone else. No one in the audience on this one. I'll take a motion to close public hearing.
Hearing.
Motion to close by Mr. Kenny, please.
Second.
Second by Mr. De Silva. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Ayes have it. Okay, any comments or questions from the board before we let Mr. Cronin respond? Go ahead.
Whatever order pleases you.
Okay. No, why don't we go before, while the questions are somewhat fresh in our mind? I think the first person had just a couple of 3 questions, right?
Yeah. So I'll let Sam talk to the septic design, right? You guys don't want to hear that from me. You shouldn't. You shouldn't want to hear from me. But as far as the hours of operation, of course, the town of Coventry rules will apply. We're not asking for any exceptions from that. And we anticipate that the buffers that we're offering and the ones that are existing will reduce the impact of those things. They will be used for work. I can't say, I mean, most of these type of units are used by contractors who store their materials in them, go and load up in the morning and go off and work during the day and return in the afternoon. But there's no actual restriction on them doing some work in their unit. So I don't think that's prohibited by the Town of Coventry ordinance or regulations. So it's possible, and I wouldn't want to rule that out. We're not expecting any floor drains in the units at all. You know, there'll be solid concrete floors. Like I said, and then some of Miss Massey's and some of Miss Sargent's comments overlap a little bit as far as their perspective. So Miss Massey indicated she's worried about the runoff of water when the stream swells, and Ms. Sargent had some concerns as well about the water levels, neighboring wells. So we're at master plan, as this board is well aware. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But those engineering studies have to be completed, those calculations have to be made, and they need to be submitted to Department of Environmental Management for their approval, Town of Coventry engineer for his approval. And at this point, they're frankly just not available. So although we've considered, you know, where the wetland is and where we put our drainage and, you know, tried to be smart about it, those actual confirmations that there won't be any impact are not yet available. And if you know as well as I do, is that the design of these sites can be DEM driven, and this probably will be one of those. So that would be our comment to that. As far as Ms. Kane's comments, along with Ms. Sargent's, as to what type of business we're trying to locate there and what kind of buffers we have, I mentioned in my presentation that this is a permitted use in the VRC zone. We're not asking for any variance as to the use. And I also mentioned that this is conforming, right? So we have all the dimensional requirements met in this design. We're not asking for any variances there either. So it's the way we used to say it, right? Is by right, right? We're coming in here with a conforming project, both in use, design, and size. So that's where my comments are in regard to those. Not that they're not good inquiries, but at master plan, we can't answer some of those engineering type questions. And certainly we have, well, while we have those concerns, the Department of Environmental Management and the Town of Coventry engineer are the watchdogs for that. I'm going to let Sam answer the question about the septic design. But if the board has any questions about the use, the buffers, anticipated hours, or any of those topics, I'd be happy to answer those before Sam comes up.
Anyone on the board? Do you know what are the hours? 7 to?
I believe it's 7 to 7.
Yeah.
Except Sundays. kind of thing.
Okay. So there shouldn't be any work going on inside the units outside of those hours.
That's right.
Like if someone has, all their equipment broke down, you know, they might want to go in there at 9 o'clock at night and say, I got to get this fixed, so I have it in the morning. That's generally wouldn't be permitted.
I haven't investigated that particular question, but those are the general operating hours for
Yeah.
commercial uses in the town of Coventry. Whether you can go in there and, you know, close the door and flip on the light and clean your tools. I don't know the answer
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
Sam, you want to explain septic?
So I think the confusion is I submitted the entire application, the septic application that was at the state for the previous project. But the main point of submitting that was for the soil data. And so the soil data is the only part of that application that we're going to use moving forward. And those were, conforming test holes, soil, water table results, no ledge in the area, those things.
So the proposed on-site wastewater treatment system that you currently show up in that corner of the project, that's
Just conceptual,
okay. Does it-
hasn't
do
been
you-
to
do you
DEM.
see it? Do you see it requiring any variances? Are you
No.
far enough away from the neighbor's wells?
Yep.
Which is the 100-foot minimum, right?
Yeah.
And then what do you envision the water use or the types of facilities are going to be in there that drain into that from the units? Like, they all going to have a
Yeah.
bathroom? They're
Mini-
going to
yeah.
have,
Yeah, they'll all probably have a bathroom, but it's very minimal use. We design it as 2 employees per unit. And, each employee is only 15 gallons per day. So it's a very small system. It might be comparable to like a 5-bedroom house at the most. So no crazy heavy wastewater flow coming out of the area. Plus, and water use, the well, there's an existing well on site. We plan on just tapping into that existing well and using that. We don't see a problem with the flow of that well.
do you see any reason to restrict water use, let's say outdoor hoses, washing equipment, anything like that, especially if all you have is the one well for the 17 units?
I don't
Not
know
at this
that.
point,
I
you
don't
just
know
don't
that
know.
answer. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Anyone else?
We are proposing that 10,000 gallon, fire cistern for fire protection, but that's
Yeah. glad you
unrelated
mentioned
to that.
Anyone else?
I don't have a question, but more just a comment. I know that on the, for preliminary, a landscape plan will be provided. We talked about it earlier. I'd just like to explore that possibility of, buffering on Flat River Road,
Yeah.
where you say there are white pines existing, or if you can.
Show all that,
Anyway.
yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I have that noted, and yeah, obviously more buffering, especially on the east side, as Doug mentioned. So we'll do our best with that.
I think that at least my opinion on the flavor of the comments were, if we're going to have that type of commercial development in the west end of town, and I know it's permitted use, let's just screen it so that nobody has to look at it, even when they're driving down the street.
Got it.
That-
Understood.
And Sam, I think one approach could be if you can provide some evidence of the buffer that exists within the state right of way,
Right.
whether that could be done with at the preliminary plan stage with some aerial imagery overlapped with some of the plan sets. I think that would be helpful for everyone to understand where there are gaps, and that might help augment where plantings could be helpful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The issue with that, and I just want to bring that up, the issue with that is if the state decides to redo the road and they widen it and they take out their buffer, they go, well, we're here. Now, you can't go back and have them put a buffer in after the fact.
That's a true fact. So I think that's something the board can take into consideration when they're reviewing this. I think also let's keep in mind, with this particular use, there's not a direct adjacent land use. Our code does have buffering standards when you directly abut another land use. If they were directly abutting a residential, that'd be required buffer standards. For the 2 sides of the site, they're on public roadways. So the buffering that we're getting is essentially through our encouragement, because we feel that that's a more appropriate design. So we should be thoughtful about that as well in terms of where we should really be landing the additional trees where they make the most sense. Does that make sense?
Good point.
I'd also,
Right.
also like to comment on, sure, sorry. I'd also like to comment on, these buildings are gonna be pretty stark. I'd like to see some sort of, makeup of like something that would be kind of a little bit more in keeping with the Summit, area. See if you can put some architectural features on the building that would give it a little more of a rustic look.
Yep. Yeah, we plan on having some renderings for the next phase and then, basically comments from the board, we can adjust those or for at the TRC meeting. So, yep.
Okay. Okay, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Studley,
Okay, I move that the planning commission approve the master plan application for Summit Commercial Condos located at AP 316, Lot 27, 28 Old Summit Road, major land development project. In support of this motion, I move that the commission adopt the findings of fact presented in the February 19th, 2026 staff report and find that the application satisfies the requirements of Rhode Island General Law 45-2360 and the Town of Coventry subdivision and land development regulations. This approval would be subject to the conditions of approval outlined in the staff report. In addition to those outlined conditions, I would also add the condition that we received this evening, that the stormwater treatment plan submitted on February 20th, 2026 shall be reviewed and approved according to the town engineer's satisfaction as part of the administrative final plan stage of review.
Sorry, and just as a quick correction, I think you might be referencing
Am I wrong?
stormwater for a separate application.
I'm sorry, I had the wrong paper.
No, no worries.
So strike that last condition.
okay, we have a motion from Mr. Studley. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Member De Silva. Any further discussion by the board? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? None opposed. 6-0. Okay, next item, 10.3. Dante Real Estate, am I on the right one? Dante Real Estate 2, Tyoke Ave. Mr. Sorsa.
Yep. Sam Sorsa, Coventry Survey, 46 South Main Street, Coventry. I'm here with the applicant. Dante Real Estate 2 LLC, Tyoke Ave. So we're proposing kind of the same type of development as the previous project, the commercial condos. This is a 10,000 square foot building, 50 by 200. It's on the south side of Tyoke Avenue, just behind the McDonald's. On the west side of the lot, we have the Mishnock River and a large associated wetland area. On the east side, we have the Ramblewoods Mobile Home Park entrance way, and on the south side also Ramblewood Mobile Home Park. The entrance to this is just to the east of the McDonald's, and we have to kind of keep it close to the property line due to the Mishnock River and the wetland area there. The building is going to sit back about 400 feet from Tyoke Ave, so it will be you won't really see the building from the road due to the landscape features on the McDonald's parking lot and the building, the McDonald's building there. We are proposing some landscape buffers on the south side, some green giants on the south side of the building to screen the Ramblewood Mobile Home Park, and just recently proposed additional buffer on the eastern side of the building, where we're proposing the building to be about 10 feet from the property line. We are at the wetlands and RIPTES program right now under review. We've been there for a few months, so that is nearing its completion. We're proposing an infiltration basin to the west of the building, so most of the stormwater for the building and the parking lot area is going to flow kind of sheet flow off of the surface there into an infiltration basin. And then the entranceway, we have another infiltration basin. So most of that stormwater is going to flow into that infiltration basin. So that's where we're handling that. And we're going to be, we're going to be propose a private well here. Same kind of thing as the last project, not much water usage, and a septic system as well. So not a big septic system. We're showing a dumpster area as well. That's pretty much the gist of it. Any questions?
Yes, sir. Did you see the TRC report?
Yep, I have it here. I have that here with me. Yep.
I just had a question about color of the building,
Okay.
if you had any thoughts. And then the emphasis on buffering the the easterly side of the building, as much as possible. I guess that's the where there's only a 10-foot from the property line. Those were the things that I had.
Okay, yeah, so I can speak to the buffering. The buffering, so we're only 10 feet from that lot line because of the wetland area. It's pushing, it's in the back of that lot, it's pushing quite a bit to the east, so just kind of the site restrictions, we had to push the building there. We're going to propose those green giants along that boundary line. There's not much development heading to the east right there. We have an access road, but no, mobile homes at that point. Yeah. And the applicant is here, and I can ask if he wants to comment on the color or of the building. Is that?
Before we get to that, I think
Yeah.
one of the sources is on sheet 3 of 14, you show the landscape buffer.
Yeah.
Along Glenwood.
Yeah.
But on sheet 6 of 14, it's not shown.
Okay.
So I think, see, it was here.
Yeah, I think I just, the most recent revision that I did on 212 was the addition of sheet 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess to expand on my question, my comment was more in the TRC, it's the staff recommends adding additional planting.
Okay.
Right, that's
what we did. We did add that just after the meeting and tried to get it in for your guys' review.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I will, let me just double check one other thing. Just before we get to the color of the buildings, if you don't mind. Okay, so the other stormwater infiltration system is that thin crosshatched line, just as you leave Tyoke Ave, like it's almost even with the McDonald's building, and then the larger one is the one outside of the parking spaces that's shown,
Yes.
right? Okay. Okay. All right, so if you want to just get to his question about the color of the buildings.
Yeah.
Applicants here.
Like yeah. Sort of like a grayish, light gray color is what he's thinking of.
Not going to be yellow to match the
No
McDonald's.
yellow.
you can't see it from the road anyway.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
my concern is the entrance. So state law requires 150.
Right.
You guys are proposing 18 feet from the McDonald's.
Yeah. And that's basically the Mishnock River buffer that's why we're having to jam the access way so close to the McDonald's entrance. But yeah, it's a big ask. I know that.
A lot of traffic going into that
Yeah.
McDonald's. There's probably gonna be trucks coming out of that roadway. 18 feet doesn't give a whole lot of
Yeah.
view for people to look down the roadway. Additionally, it is set way back. Not gonna see it from the road, but that means that there's gonna be probably a paved driveway all the way to it.
It's a paved driveway. Yeah.
And there's wetlands over there too. So
Yeah.
you've got all that space for runoff to run down. What's the mitigation on that?
That's what we've been at DEM for with RIPTs and with wetlands. So we've worked through our drainage. Basically, our post is going to equal our pre. We're not going to be pushing more stormwater to the wetland area than currently is.
And then my other question would be on lighting. So again, requirements 50, you guys want 10. There, to the backside of that building, there's the roadway coming into the mobile home park.
Right.
Got that. But on the other side, there are mobile homes along that edge. So I guess the questions again are going to be lighting, are going to be noise. And again, understanding the kind of operations that are probably going to be there. Guys did move where the dumpster was, got that. So I guess those are just my concerns, and I'd like to hear from the neighbors too.
Okay.
I thought of something. Oh, yeah. So you still have to go to DOT to get a permit for that access to Route 3?
Yeah, I think we've submitted it to DOT, but we haven't got approval yet. I think
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to.
it's under
clarify.
review.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Someone
to-
else on the board have a question?
Through the
Yes,
chair,
sir.
before we go to public comment, when you submitted to DOT, did you submit a traffic study for this?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. DOT, did you hear back from DOT on whether they'd require one?
I don't know that answer.
Fair enough. I think we didn't require one locally. But if one is going to be required, we'd like for you to submit at the next stage of review.
Okay. Yep.
And that's not in your report, right? You want us to add that as a condition?
Um,
Because this is a unified.
This is a combined master and prelim. So these are the voting stages in which it's in front of the board. The next stage would be administrative in front of staff. I'd like a copy of everything that ends up going back and forth to DOT. It would not surprise me that DOT for a new use would ask for some level of study. I'd just like to have a copy of it for our records to understand any issues. For us, the Tioga, it's not going to be a trip generation. It's not as though Tioga can't handle the additional traffic. I think the comments that were brought up about the proximity from this to McDonald's, there's some concern there. I would say my quick observation is the applicant has a legitimate hardship. The site does not have access at another location. And we did bring that particular proximity of driveways to police and fire, who each offered that they did not have concerns with the conditions. That was something that was not noted at TRC, but we asked for that specific item to be reviewed and asked for their specific comment, and they offered that, and that's contained in the staff report. That may not be the perfect solution, but that was the level of review that we sought on that particular matter. So I do think it would just be good for the town if DOT has a traffic study and they rely on the traffic study for the town to have the same information before we give final approval. That's just my concern there. I don't know if I need it as a condition of approval. Sam, I think we're just going to look for all the data that you exchange back and forth with the state. We're going to look for copies of that.
Sure.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Unless someone else on the board has a comment, I'll entertain a motion to open public hearing. We got a motion to open public hearing for Mr. Price. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We got a second for Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, public hearing's open. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against? Come on up, please. Name and address for the record, please. Make sure the microphone's where you can, yeah, there you go.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Hawes. I'm here as an attorney on behalf of Maple Root. Sorry for my voice. Maple Root Maple Root Ramblewood Corporation, which is just to the south of the property, the mobile home park. I'm from the law offices of Patrick J. Sullivan, 300 Centerville Road, Suite 300W, Warwick, Rhode Island. We just wanted to share some issues that we'd like the planning board to address in their consideration. One of those is that the impact avoidance and minimization narrative mentioned that there was an operation and maintenance plan for the upkeep of the basins that are proposed here. That document was not part of the materials that were before the board or available to the public. So I would just ask the board condition that that document be provided to, before final plan approval for review by the administrative officer. We also would like to see the lighting plan be submitted prior to final approval, as was recommended by the TRC in their report, specifically because we are concerned with light shed on the residences that are to the south of the proposal. In their presentation today, they mentioned green giants being added to the buffer. I noted that there was 2 rows of arborvitaes that were proposed in the plans that we reviewed. So it's possible that the green giants are a relatively new introduction. So I just wanted that enhanced buffer and vegetation to be concrete. And additionally, there was a suggestion of added buffer along the eastern boundary as well. Again, that is something that we would like to see happen, especially since, again, these are residences. The only other thing is that due to the fact that it is a equipment storage for contractor use that's going to be used for landscaping and parking, we would like to know if there's going to be any gasoline or fuel storage on site and what safety measures are being put into place for any gasoline or fuel storage that's going to be on site. Thank you.
What was the first thing, the plan for the maintenance of the stormwater system?
Yeah, operation and maintenance.
Operation and maintenance.
It's an
Yep.
operation and maintenance plan has been prepared for the long-term upkeep of the basins. So it seems like one exists, and we would just want that to be reviewed by the administrative officer prior to final plan approval.
Yep. Thank you. Anyone else in the audience have any comments or concerns? Want to speak on this application? Don't see anyone. How about Zoom? Do we have anyone on Zoom that wants to speak on this application? I don't see anybody, right? Okay.
If you're on Zoom, just raise your hand.
Yeah, if you're
Let
on
us know if
Zoom,
you'd
please
like to
raise your
speak.
hand if you want to speak. Sorry. Okay, I don't see anyone. I'll make a motion to, well, do we typically take the responses before we close public hearing? I forget.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
My thought is that if you feel comfortable with the level of information and you anticipate a vote, I don't know if you need to keep public comment open.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Make a motion to close.
Motion by Mr. Price to close public hearing. We got a second by Mr. Kenny. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay. Sam, just to circle back on some of those, do you have an operation and maintenance plan for the stormwater, infiltration systems and everything?
Yeah, so the operation and maintenance will be part of that wetlands permit. So when we receive that back, that approved maintenance plan will be, part of that submission as final.
And that comes into planning and
Mm.
then we can make that available. The
And,
Rambo-
and our intent right now is that this would be administratively approved just by staff at final, but we will review that document and all other documents that are provided to us to ensure they're sufficient.
Right, but I think the request was, could she take a look at it before?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. In fact, if the attorney wanted to share their contact information with me, we could. We just can't understand when final plan might be in front of us. It could be 2 months. It could be 6 months. It depends on DEM. But I don't mind sharing the information with you. And then if you have comments, you could comment directly to me.
Okay, and on the lighting?
Yeah, so the lighting plan, we'll plan on having that lighting plan for the final, final submission.
And it sounds like the same thing. I think just before you issue the final approval administratively, since this is a combined, there's not going to be another hearing on this. I think
This is the one stop that we anticipate this would take in front of this board. And yeah, we do have on a condition of approval that a lighting plan is to be provided with confirmation of no, we did not anticipate this would be freestanding lights. It was just going to be wall packs. I assume that's
Yeah.
still standing.
Right.
We anticipated no wall packs to be located on the southern side of the building. I think the major concern that that is noted and that staff have asked the applicant to address, and we feel the applicant has done a pretty good job of, is the southern side of the site. There's no, they're giving us the full buffer plus additional rows of trees. All you see all the changes that had been made throughout. So we think that the applicant has certainly shown us an ability to be sensitive to the southern side of the site.
It sounded like, and again, I'm not going to ask the attorney to come back up here, that she just wanted to have the opportunity to review this stuff before you approve it.
No,
So
no
if you
problem.
can just let her know when you have
Yeah,
it.
no,
that'll be
and we
fine.
she could certainly give me comments.
Yep, and the landscape. what's
Yeah,
the
so
difference?
well, I think we just made a general call out for arborvitae's as the buffer, but I mentioned green giants. I think that's something that we can do, and we can make it specific to say the buffer plantings will be green giants on the southern and eastern side.
Yeah, I don't know the difference, so.
And I think the plan also calls for no windows in the rear of the building.
Right, right.
So the trees that are going in the back, even though they're 10 feet from the property line, the
Yeah.
trees should cover the majority of the building, I would assume.
Right, right.
What's the difference between regular arborvitae's and green giants? One,
Green giants, they grow
They're
very
big.
tall, very quick, and they have good coverage. Yeah.
We have offered as a standard visual mitigation, generally, green giants, oftentimes, I don't know if we'll get it here, but you see the double stacked row, and usually 8 feet at planting. That's been a standard approach we've taken whenever we have a more intensive use abutting a less intensive use.
okay, and the landscape plan is going to be approved at final as well?
Yes, we actually feel, although we got the landscape trees shown on the southern side of the site, there's one sheet of this that shows the trees on the eastern side. To be honest, other than that, we weren't anticipating needing a landscape architect plan. This gives us the information we would need on this plan set today.
And because of the dimensions of this lot, there is no way to move that road any further than where it is right now.
That's a very good point. That challenge of this site, because the wetlands are driving the site design of the roadway access, there is not a way to gain access to the site in another location. So that was, I thought, a warranted close review. For us, we don't see it as trip mitigation. It's about turning movements, having turning movements in and out. I think McDonald's, the site will be much busier. But that's where we specifically wanted to know fire and police were comfortable, because there is a relief, there's zoning relief related to the proximity of those two driveways.
I mean, I understand that they took it. I retired.
Yep.
I can see something, so,
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Price?
I had a few more questions. So this applicant is asking for relief of the required 50-foot setback on the east side. Is that the case?
Correct.
Going from 50 feet to 10 feet?
Correct. In fact, I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning. We actually have the master plan and preliminary plan combined approval, and then there are also, we're going to need to take a separate action. I believe there are 3 dimensional variances. One's for less than 50 feet of vegetative buffer on the eastern side of the building, having access too close to the other driveway is a second one, and for the building design elements on the site which are located within the special planning and overlay district. Those are the 3 those are the 3 zoning
That's
matters.
correct. And just to make sure we're clear, the building is actually allowed to be 10 feet from the property line. It's the landscape buffer where there's the relief. They should give us 50 feet. They're
Okay.
giving us 10 feet on the eastern side.
Okay. So it's really not that significant of a relief that we're asking for.
I think the significance of the buffer is really about what's being viewed on the other side, because that side of the site is going to an access road. There was less concern. We actually felt better about getting additional plantings above and beyond the buffer on the southern side. We weren't as concerned about the eastern side, although we did want that row of trees to at least to some degree screen that building.
Mhm. My concern about this development, it looks like you're just trying to fit too much on the available space they have. for this buildable space they have for this lot.
Anything else? That's it?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else? No comments? Okay. So as I just stated, we're actually going to be, there are actually two items combined before us on this matter. The first is the request for the dimensional variances, and the second is the combined approval of this as master plan and preliminary plan, with the only outstanding matter to be approval of final.
And through the chair, may I just ask, and I'm going to ask for the solicitor's input on this. This project has proposed a combined master plan preliminary. That doesn't happen often. I don't think this board has, unless you guys can educate me, a standard practice where you vote to allow it to be combined. Because it's on our agenda, we've essentially accepted it. If the board did not feel comfortable with it as combined, then that's certainly a piece that you could focus on in your review. However, the difference between a master and a prelim, we're getting a good level of detail here, so you're able to make a good judgment. I just wanted you to be aware if there was a concern with having these stages combined, that's something you could consider and discuss as a separate item before you get into the merits of each individual variance or each individual piece. Then when you begin your deliberation, my suggestion is if you're comfortable with the combined status and you just want to get right into the variances, I'd have a discussion amongst the board of which variance might be the variance that there's greatest concern and look at that first so that we understand if there's any issues with that variance before we move on to the others.
My other concern would be with the entry point, as it's already been pointed out. 18 feet isn't that wide, and we're gonna have it's basically gonna be contractor work, so that means a lot of pickup trucks with trailers pulling in and out at the same time. And 18 feet isn't that much room.
Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot. There's quite a few of these contractor type buildings that have gone up, and there's a variety of uses. I've seen some of them used by tradespeople. Some of them have one occupant using all of them. Some of them, I mean.
Yeah, we don't expect heavy use. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, they go there in the morning and they come back in the afternoon, get their private vehicle and then drive home. That's kind of what we feel is the usage, but
again,
we
the
don't
issue
know.
with that is McDonald's is busier in the morning and busier in the afternoon.
Right.
Okay.
I think if the board did feel better about it, we could provide a traffic study for that final review stage. If that made everybody feel more comfortable, I think we would be okay with that. But we are obviously going to DOT for review. So
Yeah, I think a traffic study would measure trip generation, which I don't think is the issue, it's more of a safety aspect. So how that's measured, Mr. Director?
Well, a traffic study can do both. And I agree. I don't think the concern here is trip generation. The concern is not that Tile can't handle the volume of trips for the site. The concern are turning movements on and off the site, particularly in proximity to another entryway. And I think it's a lot about those trickier left-hand turning movements where I could see multiple left-hand turning movements coming out, creating confusion. That would be reviewed as part of a DOT PAP application. I can tell you that in general, the state does have a pretty high standard for what it wants to see in terms of design. And that's why I'd like to be able to see what they submit to DOT and then what DOT comes back with. If anything, it could be that there's a greater level of back and forth between them and DOT than there would be at the local level. If DOT gets to the point where they're comfortable, generally the town would not be in a position where we would feel as though we did not have our concerns met. That's just a general rule of how DOT goes about their safety reviews for PUDs. That's why I'm more concerned about seeing how the outcome of that and knowing if there were concerns, how they were addressed, and then planning can reflect on that at final.
Anybody else?
So my only thought is, are we not discussing final to be administratively now? Because if we're gonna have this condition that the traffic study be seen at final, if it's done administratively, we'll never.
That's
we won't
correct.
know.
That's correct. I mean, my suggestion would be that if they come back with a state RIDOT PAP that demonstrates that they've met the state standards, I'd like to see a full copy of all the information that went back and forth. The board may say you'd like to see it at final, and that's something you could stipulate. I would feel comfortable reviewing it administratively at final because we're resting upon the work that DOT has done to their degree of safety. I think they would hold a pretty high standard. It's like having almost a free peer reviewer at the state who's going to be holding a high bar. That's why I would feel comfortable once I see that information, is still looking at it at a staff level. The board is also welcome to opine upon wanting to see it come back for final, if you felt that was appropriate in this case.
Personally, I'm satisfied with your answer, and I agree DOT's standard is gonna be very high. I don't know how the rest of the board would feel if you wanna see the outcome of that, you know, what your concerns addressed. I would like to see the outcome. That's just me.
Would we normally get that at preliminary or at final?
You would normally, I'd have to take a quick look at state law again, but I believe that a lot of these new state laws pushing that state permits for these projects are coming at final.
Okay.
So whether they had done this and slow walked it, where they did a master individually, then a prelim individually, then a final, we'd probably still be in the same position at a preliminary plan saying, we're waiting for the state permits. Do we want to take a look at those at final? The truth is, I don't think there's anything that prohibits final being done in front of the board. But it depends on your level of comfort and how much information you want to see. So that's certainly up to the discretion of the board. You can have a discussion on whether you feel more comfortable this coming back for final or not.
If I may, I would just note, if we see, if we do receive, evidence that there is a physical alteration permit that was issued, I just find it very hard to believe that the board would, go against that, recommendation and then deny the project. So I would feel comfortable if they receive it, and staff is comfortable. I don't see any reason for them to come back to final.
Anybody else? Okay. What do we typically do? The variances first?
You have to do the variances first. And my thought is there's three different categories of variance. One is a driveway proximity variance. The other is a buffer variance on the eastern side of the building. That's towards that access road. And then there's a batch of variances related to building design. This is in our special overlay district where we want the building to have certain treatments, materials. From staff's perspective, the building is pretty far away from the street. That was where we wanted to have the good building design. It's how it represented on Tioga. I think that the variances there are less relevant because it's really not impacting the street view. It will be, but the building will be buried. I think the other more relevant variances are the driveway proximity and the buffering. My recommendation would be the board consider which of those you might have concerns with and discuss the most concerning one first. So you're tackling the toughest variance first.
So is there one motion on all three variances or three motions, one for each?
We could consider all we've have in the past, done one motion for all the variances. The code is called out in the decisions. Or I'm sorry, the code is called out in the recommendations and the staff reports. However, if you have different views and you might wish to attach your own specific concerns or additional conditions to any of these, then we can call them out and have motions individually. I hope that makes sense.
And especially if one or more board members have a different point of view on one variance over the other. I wouldn't want board members to feel that they have to vote all or nothing. That's a discussion you have, and I guess that's something you could decide. Do you want to
Yeah,
take them all at once?
Yeah, I might suggest in light of that comment, why don't we just, it might take a little longer, but let's just, let's do separate motions for each of the variances, and then we can, vet those in discussion and then tackle them that way. So the citations are on page 5 and 9 of the staff director's report, if anyone wants to make a motion. They're in that middle paragraph there, the big one.
And I'd note, as you go through the variances, we do have one batch of findings for the variances as a combined block. However, you'll note some of the findings get into certain aspects more than the others. Some of it are about visuals and some of it are on other issues. So as you make individual findings, I'd reference all of the staff report if you get to the point where you have positive on the individual variances. But take a look, and if anybody feels as though they are voting on a variance and you're not sure which finding applies, you can always tell us.
I say 5, yeah. Wait.
And I'm just going to weigh in. I think rather than focus on the findings, I think you just take each one of the variances,
Right.
discuss it, see where people
Right.
stand, vote on it.
Right.
Then you can move to support the findings that, and just so that they can get to the bottom
Right.
line of where the
Right.
board sits on these variances.
Right. So,
And if you have some other concerns or questions
Yeah.
that aren't addressed, we can try to address them.
Yeah.
So discuss them one by one.
That's what
before any motion at all.
I think that's what the board should do, because just so the board can get a feeling of where
Okay.
people are.
all right, so in other words, have an informal discussion, then make a motion for all of them. Okay. All right. All right. So let's take up in the order they're on here, not, and despite what the planning director suggested, I don't know which is going to cause be the most difficult and which isn't. So the first one is less than the required 50 feet of vegetative buffer on the eastern side of the property. They're looking to, for 10 feet, which will be planted with arborvitaes along the back of the building, which won't have any windows. So does anyone want to weigh in on the 50-foot vegetative buffer variance?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have an issue with positive on the variance, but I think we were talking about giants instead of arborvitaes. I don't have a problem with it.
Anyone else?
Me
Go ahead.
personally, I think going from 50 feet to 10 feet is pretty excessive. And although there are no neighborhood houses there, that's not to say they couldn't put houses there. So are we, how much are we pushing onto that adjacent property owners?
I don't know if they can put houses there because it is the trailer park. I think it's probably restricted in a certain way.
Actually, I think one of the pieces that you may not have in front of you that's the most restrictive is that the general business zone reaches down into that area of the trailer park parcel. So imagine the trailer park has a narrow entry road, and then it gets into the housing area. That entry road's, it's zoned general business. So I think in that portion of their lot, it's not even clear to me if residential is an allowed use. So
Okay, that's
I
good
don't,
On that roadway going into the development, there's nothing there. There's no home there. There's nothing. It looks like it's just recreational use, so.
Yeah, it's just a field now, but
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was also industrial use,
yeah, or general business.
general business.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a big difference.
I'm working off memory of the general business zone reaching down. It definitely, the general business zone, I think it's a straight line across, and it reaches down as far as this lot. So I would almost envision that as you move east or west in the same direction, the general business zone is stretching that direction. Hope that makes sense.
That makes sense.
And if I could just, one other thing, and I do have to just, do we anticipate any fuel storage or anything on the property? Because that question wasn't answered.
Yeah, maybe the applicants can speak a little bit more on that, but I can't answer that with myself. I don't know. Do you want us to talk about that? Yeah.
And I'm not talking, good evening.
Mike Sakosha, owner of Dante Real Estate LLC 2. I'm sorry, can you hear me? So we're talking about the variance, I guess, on the landscaping and the design on the eastern side of the property there. Right now, that whole entire piece, except for maybe the first 30 or 35 feet on the access road that goes into the trailer park, is all vegetation. And from driving in, there's a Papagino's at the beginning of it, which is general business also. That property line goes up probably halfway up to the proposed building, the middle of the proposed building. So that side of the building, unless Papagino's build another building behind it, I anticipate that that'll always be some sort of vegetation. So it won't be conflicting with somebody and I know we're proposing vegetation on that side to be added as a landscape buffer, but I mean, it's pretty thick back there to begin with. I mean, you can't walk back there and you can walk back there and get lost at the moment.
Yeah. Do you have any, only because there was a question that wasn't addressed on the fuel storage? I mean,
I don't really have an answer to that. I mean, if there was a landscaper that was gonna, let's say, rent a bay, they might have a couple 5-gallon jugs of
so if there was
gasoline.
anything larger than 5-gallon jugs of gasoline, you're not going to have,
It's
you
not-
don't envision 50-gallon
It's not gonna
drums.
be a fuel station where there's a 1,000-gallon tank stored on
No.
site.
I just wondered if you restricted tenants, let's say, from having large vats of who knows what kind of flammable or hazardous material might be available, or if
This isn't really, I mean, as an example, there's another commercial garage facility east of where this building is being proposed. It's called Tyoke Condo Garages. I actually used to own a garage over there before we moved out of there. And give you an example, Dial Oil is in there, and they have 5 oil trucks. I mean, but other than the oil that they have in their truck, they don't store fuel that sits there all day long. So it kind of goes in and goes out. So the usage is going to kind of vary once we get applications from people as to the different businesses that go in there. I mean, we have a couple of the other sites that are very low impact. We built one on Main Street in the Harris section, and a company purchased it to store their overflow of restaurant equipment and store a truck and do some maintenance stuff. And they're hardly ever there. So and the only other thing I want to add to is you guys keep talking about the driveway entrance, the in and out, and the variance that's required for that, and the traffic that comes in and out of there. I don't think there's really going to be a lot of traffic that would be coming in and out on a throughout the day, like we talked about. But the other thing I'd like you to consider is that the entrance to McDonald's is a one-way entrance at that closest proximity to our entrance. So the traffic study on that, I think, would probably show some good results because of that also. So,
yeah, let's hope. Thank you for that. And what I was going to add, I know you got up to talk about the landscape, but I was going to point out also that wasn't a big issue from the attorney for the mobile home park. The only issue she asked was that they be green giants instead of, I didn't hear any issues with the width of the buffer.
I just don't know exactly what the benefit is going to really, we can put them in there, but I don't know what the benefit's going to be of them to be on that side, only because it is a straight wall of vegetation already. So green giants, they do better when they're kind of out in the open because they grow 18 to 20 inches a year. I mean, I plant them all the time.
And if you put them back there, are they going to grow because of the?
Well, they're going to grow, and then we're going to have to cut them away from the building.
Oh,
so.
Well, what had you proposed? Nothing.
I'm sorry.
What was proposed?
I mean, essentially, someone down the road, if they ever do anything with the land there, I mean, they're going to probably clear right up to that buffer zone. I mean, it would be something to kind of review at that time. But I mean, obviously, the board wants to see something. So.
No, I just didn't know if someone suggested arborvitaes and then now it's green giants, and you're saying if you want green giants, I'll put them there, but the arborvitaes would have been a better choice. Doesn't matter.
It's kind of half of one, doesn't have to. I mean, the green giants are a little more resilient to the deer. The arborvitaes, the deer will be feasting on them, so they'll be They'll be twigged shortly after they're installed.
That's what I thought the difference was, but Sam didn't say.
I mean, another idea is to put some white pines in, and space them apart. We did a project down at on Main Street, like I mentioned before, and part of the buffer to the riverbed was we put some white pines in, but our buffer between the river and the building was a lot more scarce than what we're talking about on this project. I mean, it can even be something if you wanted to let the planning director take a look at it once we get the site at some point in time and have a better antic as to what the landscaping should be on that side. So, and I agree with the south side. I mean, we should put something there for the neighbors so that they don't see daylight. It buffers the noise.
Yep.
But I don't really anticipate a lot of noise. If you guys are familiar with the Tyoke condo garages, I mean, I don't think you have. Do you really have any complaints, Doug, from the Tyoke condo garage parcel?
No, I can't say I've had
So,
complaints of
and
that.
that buffers the other side of the park. So to give you an example, and they don't have any buffer behind their building. It's just oak trees.
Yep.
So any other questions?
Anybody else have a question for the applicant? Nope, I think we're all set, Mike, thanks. Okay, so we were discussing the variance to allow a 10-foot instead of a 50-foot buffer along the back of the building. Because that's all the property that he has. Does anyone? So what are the thoughts now? Are we,
I'm good.
I have no objection to a 10.
so it sounds like that would go. The next one is the access too close to the other driveway, which I think we've discussed, but does anyone want to weigh in on that or?
The only comment I have is, as long as the plan director receives something back from our DOT that says they're okay with it. And then review it, pass that along, I'm happy with it.
My concern is, again, he is correct. That is a coming in, Murphy's Law is there, seen it. Right? My question is I think we're though, on the exit, we're within 150 feet even on the exit.
I'd have to it's close.
Very close to 150 feet.
Yeah, it's close for sure. Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
That piece of property. And the potential for something that. I know you've been in this town the whole life. So I'm not disputing any of that. For me, it's just a safety concern. Haven't been, retired. There's no other way to get to that piece of property because of the way it's situated, but I have concern.
Yep. Anybody else? Yeah, I think it's a challenge because it is the only access to the site. And as I think further down, the commercial condos that we were just talking about at Tyoke, and then you got CPM Auto Care, and then you've got, there's quite a few turning movements where the driveways are already closer than 150 feet. And I'm sure there's more vehicles going in and out of the Tyoke condominiums into, I think there's a plumbing supply place back there than this. And I think DOT, quite honestly, is going to weigh in on that also, because to deny access to the site is going to be, what's he going to do with the land? Something's got to have the access. And I think the harm is going to be, and again, I'm not a traffic engineer, but I drive a car, is you're pulling out, looking left at 2 lanes of traffic, waiting for the opening, and you start to go, and then there's somebody else taking a left into McDonald's. That's because there's no center turn lane over there. And that's unfortunate because you just go down the road a little bit, but it is what it is. And I think you were on the right track, Doug. If DOT approves it, who are we to, scrutinize it? And we go from there. So any other thoughts, any heavy opposition to that one? Okay.
Concerns, but not opposition.
Yep. And valid concerns, but no opposition. And then the last one is we're in the special planning overlay district, and there's pretty strict guidelines as to the types of siding and things that a building would have. And the proposed here is a metal building with a gray paint. Does anyone have any concerns about that? No. Don't see any objection to that, probably because of the distance to the road. So now that we've kind of vetted those items, I will entertain a motion on the dimensional variances that are being sought in this application.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion, or, well, I'll make several motions. I'll try to make several motions.
Well, we're just going to make one on the dimensional variance, right?
We're gonna make-
all three.
Well, I'll leave it the discretion of the board.
Now we can make one.
I think if the board feels, if they're going to vote similarly on all of them,
Oh, sounds like we're not, so I'm gonna make all.
then
three.
yeah, then don't, if the board wishes to vote separately on them,
Okay.
then make them separate.
Okay. So, bear with me. The project name is Dante Real Estate 2, Tioga Ave. The plan type is a unified development review, major land development with associated dimensional variances. We are at the master plan with a request to combine the preliminary plan stage. The owner is Dante Real Estates. The applicant is Mike Sakosha. The address is 0 Tioga Avenue, Assessors Plat 28, Lot 49, Zone General Business, lot size 3.83 acres. It is currently vacant. The proposed use is commercial equipment storage facility for contractor use. And the applicant proposes to construct a 10,000 square foot commercial equipment storage facility for contractor use building with associated landscaping and parking. I am going to make a motion on dimensional variance, 255-1730A, which is in reference to having less than 50 feet of a vegetative buffer. I am going to make a favorable recommendation for that variance. Motion to approve the variance, finding that that dimensional variance is consistent with the standards and findings of fact set forth in Rhode Island General Law, Section 4524-41, and based on our deliberations tonight. I make a motion to approve that variance.
Yeah,
And include the staff report in my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second by Mr. Kenny. Okay. Do we have any further discussion on the variance for the 10-foot buffer?
Should we take a roll call vote for this?
We're going to,
Okay, yeah.
if we get to that. And no discussion, I'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Studley?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Burt?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, first variance passes. Is approved. You just say same application.
Same application. I will make a second motion to in relation to variance 255-1230E. It relates to having a driveway less than the required 150 feet from an existing driveway. Based on our deliberation tonight and finding it is consistent with the standards set forth in Rhode Island General Law 4524-41, and it's consistent with the findings of fact. In the planning director's report, I make a motion to approve that variance. Yes, to approve that variance.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the variance for the reduced distance between existing driveways. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Studley. Any discussion on this one?
Mr. Burke, would you be willing to amend your variance that approval of the variance with the condition that the planning director receives a valid RIDOT report
Physical alteration permit.
for a physical alteration permit?
Satisfied with that? I will amend my motion as stated.
And the second, please.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. We didn't take a vote on them.
Seconded.
Yeah.
There was discussion.
Okay. Okay.
Motion to amend.
Yeah.
And that was seconded. The amendment needs to be approved.
Okay.
Or rejected, and then the main motion
Okay.
is back before you.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the amendment that was just made to the original motion.
I thought that motion was made.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. So I'll vote
Just
to.
saying you need to just.
Yeah.
vote-
Okay. I'll
vote on the
vote.
amendment.
Yep. I'll vote to approve the amendment first, please. Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Studley.
Yes.
Mr. Silva. Mr. Mr. Burke.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, now a vote on the motion
As amended.
as amended. Thank you. Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Studley.
Yes.
Mr. De Silva.
No.
Mr. Kenny.
Yes.
Mr. Burke.
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Okay, motion carries 5-1. And lastly,
And
we
lastly, I will make a motion on
to approve.
variance 255-530E, which is in relation to building design elements. Again, based on the findings of fact, this is consistent with Rhode Island General Law, Section 45, 24, 41. My motion is to approve that variance
Right to report.
and include the planning staff report in my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Studley,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Kenny,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
and chair votes yes. Okay, so we passed three-dimensional variances and now, whatever your pleasure is, we've got a unified development review for both, master plan approval, and that will include a request to combine preliminary plan. Should I do two separate motions on this one too?
I think I would, just because just to be specific, I would
Okay.
make a motion. The
Right.
board agrees to combine the two before you make the motion.
Right, okay, so if anyone so pleases, I would like to have a motion to combine both master plan with preliminary plan and then allowing this application to proceed to final administratively.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a favorable motion to combine master and preliminary plan so the applicant may proceed for administrative final. Project names Dante Real Estate 2, Tyoke Ave, Unified Development Review, Major Land Development with associated variances that were just passed. We're at the master plan stage. Owner Dante Real Estate, applicant Mike Secoshia. 0 Tyoke Ave, assessors plot 28, lot 49, zone general business, lot size 3.83 acres. Current use is vacant, proposed commercial equipment storage facility for contractor use. And I'd like to include the staff report dated February 19th, 26.
Okay, so we have a motion to combine both master with preliminary. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Do we have any discussion on combining the? All right, no discussion. Then I will take a roll call vote on this as well, please. Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Studley?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Kenny?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, so we're going to combine them, and now, if someone so chooses, I will entertain a motion to approve both the master plan and the preliminary plan for this project.
Final to administrative.
And yeah, we're going to defer the final to administrative.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a favorable motion. Project name Dante Real Estate, Tyoke Ave, Unified Development Review, Major Land Development. Master plan with the request to combine preliminary plan stage. Owner Dante Real Estate. Mike Secoshia, Address 0 Tyoke Ave, Assessors Plot 28, Lot 49, Zone General Business, lot size 3.83 acres. Existing use is vacant. Proposed use is a commercial equipment storage facility for contractor use. I would like to include the staff report dated February 1926 and defer, final, what was it? What did you say, Counselor?
Defer final,
Defer final plan approval administratively.
Okay, I have a motion for approval for a unified development master and preliminary plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second from Mr. De Silva, motion by Mr. Kenny. Any further discussion on this before we vote? Just one comment. I don't think we have to incorporate in the motion, but we're going to make the, those three items, the lighting, the operation and maintenance agreement, and I think there was one other thing. And you're going to, and the landscape plan available to the attorney for the neighbors so that they can weigh in.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
happy to exchange contact information and
Thank
hear
you.
from her after.
And if not, it's in the record. Okay, thank you. That said, any other discussion? Mr. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Studley,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Kenny,
Yes.
Mr. Burke,
Yes.
and chair votes yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. You got it.
Come on, guys.
Sure. In fact, with that, we're gonna take a quick break, but I also, I didn't announce this at the beginning of the meeting, but we generally don't take, new business after 10 PM. So I see we still have 5 items, I think, left on the agenda. So I just want to point out, there's a couple of folks here that have early, they've been out straight for 2 days and now they've got early, work requirements in the morning. So, if we get to, 20 at 10 or so, probably not going to start another public hearing on anything that I envision is going to take some time. That's the only thing. I just want to throw that out there now. I'm sorry? Yeah, I know it's 8:45 now. So for right now, we're just going to take, why don't we say an 8-minute recess? So folks can just take a quick break. Okay. Before we get started, anyone on Zoom, anyone in the audience, I just want to give you, items 10.7 and 11.1, which have to do with the 3-lot minor subdivision and street extension at Hoxie Court and Notre Dame Street is going to be continued to the next meeting. So if you're on, if you came or are in attendance to speak or hear that presentation, it's not going to be heard tonight. You're welcome to stay on, but I just wanted to make that announcement so you're not hanging around for nothing. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a unified development review. Jason and Anne Marie Theriault at 31 King Street for an ADU with an associated dimensional variance. Anybody here for the applicant? Come on up.
Mr. Chairman, I want to recuse myself from this one.
Yes, sir. Okay, just note that for the record. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
Jay Terrio, 31 King Street.
Anne Marie Terrio, 31 King Street.
Okay. Whoever wants to speak, just tell us a little about the application and then,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, you can move it if you want.
The application is for an ADU to move my mother up here from the Boston area. And it's for a 2-bedroom on our lot. Essentially. So I know that we have a variance in the way that our yard is. It's, I guess, considered on the side, it's the front yard, but so was confusing. We had kind of like an L, so we needed a variance for that. And then, oh shoot, the other variance.
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
It's to construct the 1,625 square foot 2-bedroom accessory dwelling on the lot, which is 0.76 acres. And then you're seeking 2 dimensional variances. One, because it's technically considered the front yard, and also it exceeds the maximum allowable floor area requirements for a 2-bed unit, I believe. So those are the 2 things that are before us. And I think we have a pretty thorough planning director's report, and we have your application and your comments. So at this point, if you don't have anything to add, I'll just defer to any questions from anyone on the board on this application. Anyone have any questions? No? Okay, we are going to entertain questions or comments from the public because this is a public hearing. I do just have one question before we go to that, and that is 1,625 square feet for a 2-bedroom accessory dwelling. And does
That's
that,
including the garage.
I was just going to
Yeah.
ask that. So that includes the garage. So that still is 1,006 square feet of finished living space. And what's the limit? 900, Doug, or or is it?
I think it was 1,200.
Oh, it's 1,200 in total and included the garage. And since they're not technically including a portion of the garage as living space, that's what the reason for the variance is.
Yeah, the ADU threshold includes the living area, non-living area. The garage is part of what you have to keep under 12. Obviously, they're looking to be above that.
Yeah.
It's understood that the garage takes up a portion of this. They wanted to provide the ability for someone to be able to drive in and out of this unit. That makes sense for an elderly person. We did not have heavy concerns with the sizing in this
You
case.
got to have a place to park the Maserati, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any questions? Okay. All right. Hearing none. Is there anyone in the audience? Well, wait, I'm sorry. I have to open public hearing. Could I please have a motion to open public hearing?
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Kenny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Studley. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we have public hearing open. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on this application for the accessory dwelling unit and the associated dimensional variances? I don't see anyone. Is there anyone on Zoom? I don't see anyone on Zoom. If you're on Zoom and you want to speak on this, please raise your hand. Okay, don't see anybody. So motion to close public hearing.
Chairman, I'll have to make a motion to close public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Kenny to close public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Studley. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. Motion? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a favorable motion. Project name Thorold ADU.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you want two motions on this, or we just have to vote on the variances and that's it?
Gonna include them in my motion.
I suggest, you have to do two motions.
Right.
Not on each variance, but you have to do the variances first.
Right. That's what I
And then
thought.
the-
Yep. I just wanted to make sure you were
Unless
clear on
there's a
that.
disagreement among the board on the variances, you could take them in total, but unlike the last one, if somebody wants to have an individual vote
Yep.
passed differently,
Yep.
you should
Yep.
sort that out
Yep.
before you
Does anyone
vote
before-
on them
Yep.
together.
Yep. Before I entertain a motion on the dimensional variances, does anyone have any concerns or want to vote on one versus the other, that we should not take them separately? No. Okay. Okay. So I will entertain a motion on the two dimensional variances, one for the God, I had it right here. One for the placement in the front yard and the second for the exceeding the allowable floor requirements.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a favorable motion.
Approve.
Motion to approve.
Approve.
Motion to approve.
I did it too.
The two variances associated with project Thorold ADU Unified Development Review. Jason and Anne Marie Thorold, 31 King Street, Assessors Plot 21, Lot 312, Zone R20, lot size 0.76 acres, single family dwelling, proposed single use is a single family dwelling with an accessory dwelling unit. The applicant proposes to construct a 1,625-foot, two-bedroom accessory dwelling. The two variances are that the accessory dwelling unit will be located in what's signified as the front yard. And the second variance is the applicant proposes to construct a 1,625-foot, square foot, two-bedroom ADU, whereas the maximum allowed would be 1,200 square feet. And I'd like to include the staff report in my motion.
Fine.
And fine.
I have a motion to approve the two dimensional variances. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
And I have a second from Mr. Price. Any discussion? Hearing none. I guess we can, this one seems pretty simple. We'll just vote, all in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? And there's no opposed. Motion carries. You're all set.
Yep.
Wait,
And then we do take another
right,
motion on this.
right. Now we got to have a vote to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the Yep, I just want to make sure. So this is
And I'd just like to make one quick note to be clear for the record. As this application was gearing up and coming before us, we recognized that there was going to be a limitation on lot coverage percentage. What the applicant has offered is that for the purposes of what you're voting on, they're offering that the driveway extension will be made pervious pavement and portions of the existing driveway would be made pervious. That's to ensure that we don't have a greater amount of impervious surface. That's not their desire to build. I think they intend to come back in another month or two to seek the lot coverage percentage relief, which is basically to allow the driveways to exist, which goes slightly above the maximum lot coverage percentage in this case, which I believe was 20%. Staff were comfortable, but I want you to know that you shouldn't be surprised when they come back for another ask on this to essentially validate the driveways and the housing that you see on the plan. If that was not permitted, they would basically be having to do their driveways as as pervious. But they're going to seek to come back and seek them as impervious as a separate ask.
so right now the existing driveway is
The existing
Imperv-
driveway is impervious.
Yep.
And in order to make this work, they'd have to take a portion of their existing driveway and make it pervious, and they'd have to take that branch of new driveway and make that pervious. That's not their preference or their goal. So they're going to come back and seek that as a
Is there
separate
any
piece of.
requirement for stormwater mitigation if they add that much
Yeah, they're going to have roof drains, and that will come a building permit to ensure like how is the roof drain and where is that going, and those single family scale types of stormwater. They don't owe us a big DEM permit, but they have to work with the town engineer to make sure how they're
That's all I
mitigating.
wanted to know. Yep, thank you. So the matter now is just to allow the ADU in the R20 zone.
Yep.
Okay,
That's a simple vote.
no vote simple. Yes, sir.
Chairman, I would like to make a favorable motion. Project Perot ADU, Unified Development Review, accessory dwelling unit with associated dimensional variance. Jason, owner applicant, Jason and Anne Marie Perot. Address 31 King Street, assessors plot 21, lot 312, zone R20, lot 5.76 acres. Listing use, single family dwelling, proposed use, a single family dwelling with an accessory dwelling unit. Applicant proposes to construct a 1,625 square foot, 2-bedroom accessory dwelling on their parcel. I would like to include the staff report and all findings.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
I got a motion in a second. Any further discussion on approval of the ADU? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, you're all set.
Go ahead. Get one,
Whoops.
Boston.
Yeah. All right. Next item. 395 Naughty Oak Road Rehab and Extension. 395 Naughty Oak Road. You're gonna.
Yes, Mr. Chair, before we continue, I'm going to recuse myself from item 10.5.
Thank you. And for the record, yep, you got the recusal. Yep, and Mr. De Silva's back. So here we are. Okay, next item is 10.5, 395 Naughty Oak Road Rehab and Extension, minor land development use variance. Applicant proposes to construct a 3,600 square foot addition, of which 2,500 square feet would be the replacement of a fire damaged section of the existing building, and an 1,100 square foot portion that will be new construction of additional space.
Correct. Yeah, I think we boiled this project down to, Lou Baldy. I'm the attorney for the applicant. I have offices at 445 Budlong Road, Cranston, Rhode Island. Very good. I think the two things that were asked for on technical was the height of the building, and that was 29 feet and 4 inches. The other thing that was noted from technical was the bathrooms. And on the plan, we put down there were two existing stubs for the two bathrooms for the two new units. Inside those bathrooms is just going to be a sink and a commode, no shower, no half bath. And the other thing was the parking, and we needed 30 spaces. I put in a variance or waiver, they call it, for 26 spaces, and that seemed to be okay with the engineer. And the only other thing that was added, which I probably needed some clarification on, was loading spaces. I guess through the ordinance that if we have this kind of operation that we need 2 loading spaces, and that was added to the plan, showing where they'd be. Although I don't think they're going to be utilized as loading spaces. Yeah, it was loading space 1 and loading space 2. So other than that, this project is basically ready to go if there aren't any other concerns that the town has.
Good. I'm going to make a quick note about the parking. We do have a code that suggests that for any given project, the planning commission's allowed to consider a reduction in the parking requirement based on the circumstances. It doesn't actually trigger a variance. It suggests there's 2 entities that can weigh in on that, the town engineer and the planning commission. So when projects come before you, we ask the town engineer to specifically pay attention to that. The required 30 They're actually seeking 20. So they're seeking to reduce the parking requirement for this site down to 20, and that's allowing them to fit the 2 loading spaces. Quite frankly, the nature of the site and the use, we don't think they even need 20, and we don't think they truly need the loading spaces. But for code compliance, they didn't want to add another variance. We did have this review with the reduced parking reviewed by the town engineer, as well as fire and police, to ensure they felt comfortable with the site design and their apparatus getting where they needed to on the site. No concerns. So we felt pretty comfortable with the parking, loading, site arrangement issues.
Yeah, be 20. Yeah, because at the time that they had said that I was short, going to be short 4 spaces, I put in for the waiver, and then they came upon this loading zone, and then they said, no, you're not short the 4, you're short the 10. So this is new to me as we stand here.
So overall,
And all of the new constructions in the back, in front of the building, right along the road.
Correct.
And I think you also talked about, there's nothing in there right now, I assume.
I'm sorry.
There's nothing in that building right now, I don't believe.
Well, the space towards the road, I think there's a metal fabricator in there now. And then next door to that, in the second bay, there's a guy in there that wrenches on cars. I don't know if he does a good job, but he's got junk all over. He's going to clean that whole place. If you drive onto that site and you drive off, you need a tetanus shot. No, it's horrendous. I mean, it's no. I'm immaculate.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
There's junk cars and boats and everything on the other side.
I think the boats, and I asked him about the boats and the cars that were there. I think he said to me, if you look at the overview, the map, I think those boats are on the other people's property.
Oh, next door, the guy with the
Yeah,
sign
next
thing?
door.
Yeah.
Because I said, what are all these junk cars lined up on the side? And he said, Lou, that's not on my property.
I see.
So I told him to call the building inspector. Being the attorney, not a resident. No.
Looking at shot here, it's got a yellow box, and in it goes down.
That's what I was looking at.
But the boats clearly are on the driveway going down.
Yeah.
Shares the driveway.
Well,
I don't think so.
no, well, if you look at the engineering plan on the front, I'm sorry, on the Naughty Oak, you can see that it shows the curb opening, and it looks like half of it goes to this property and the other half goes there. So maybe there's an encroachment issue, but the funny thing
There's definitely encroachment issue,
can you-
sorry to interrupt, in
is
the
with-
back.
yeah, is with the GIS mapping, depending on what angle they take it from, the property lines can be off 10, 15 feet without a doubt. So they're not really that reliable as far as determining.
Yeah, and there's an
someone's
encroachment for a fence too. He said he's taking all that down. Yeah, he's gonna clean the property up and make it his own.
Yeah, so the boats boats on this aerial do appear to be on the abutting property, but there's a number of other cars and vehicles, and when you went by after they're still covered with snow. No one's moving them out of there. So yeah, hopefully anything he does will clean it up.
No, it will be.
So my only comment on the parking is we're adding 3,600 square feet to 52. That's about 8,800 square feet. There's 5 units. Even if you were to divide those into 10 units, there would still be 2 spaces per unit plus the loading spaces. So I think he's got adequate parking.
I think there were 4 units. There were 2 and he's adding 2.
Yeah, okay. Well, the point was, I just figured if he, even worst case scenario, or better
Oh, I
case
see.
scenario, even if he divided them up into smaller units, 900 square feet apiece, he's not going to get,
I see.
that many units where 20 spaces isn't sufficient. So
Plus, it's not gonna be transient traffic. It's.
no, it's just the people that are going in and out of the units. Yep.
Correct.
And storing their boats.
Yeah. And their Maseratis.
Okay. So anyone on the board have any questions for the attorney for the applicant? No. Okay. Let's see here, we have,
Make a motion to open up public hearing if you'll have it.
yes, I'll take a motion to open up public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Burke to open public hearing, a second by Mr. Kenny. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application or on this application in general? I don't see anybody. Is there anybody on Zoom? Raise your hand, please, if you want to speak on this application that's before us for 395 Naughty Oak Road. I don't see any. I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Make a motion to close public, please.
We got a motion by Mr. Burke and a second by, was it Mr. De Silva?
Yep.
To close public hearing. All in favor? Aye. Okay, and now this is, I just want to double check. This is just one vote to approve the minor land development with the use variance? Or is there a separate?
No, there's two votes.
Okay,
First
two
vote on the zoning relief, which is a use variance in this case.
Okay,
And then,
it's just not for the parking. Okay.
yeah, let's handle the parking as part of the project vote.
Yep,
It's-
that's what I thought. That's
Yep,
why I was
there you go.
confused. Hold on, I just have to look at this here right here and see what the use variance is for. Again, I know it came in. Oh, it's an expansion of the non-conforming use at that location, because this is in the R20 zone. So I will entertain a motion relative to the approval of a use variance that will allow the expansion of the non-conforming use at this location, which is in the R20 residential zone.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay?
The project name is 395 Naughty Oak Road, rehab and extension. It's a minor land development with use variance. We are at the preliminary plan stage. The owner and applicant is John Studley III. The address is 395 Naughty Oak Road, Assessors Plat 70, Lot 104, Zone R20, lot size 0.74 acres. Existing use is commercial. The proposed use is commercial with an addition. And the applicant proposes to construct a 3,600 square foot addition, of which 2,500 square feet would be a replacement of a fire damaged section of the building, and 1,100 square feet of the building would now be new construction of additional space. The existing use is pre-existing non-conforming use. Therefore, the additional space would represent an expansion of the non-conforming use. And that leads us to the use variance, which I will
Make a motion to approve.
make a motion to approve the use variance based on the findings of fact, with the condition that the applicant receive approval of the final plan. And I will include the staff report in my motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the use variance. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second. So I have an approval by Mr. Burke, a second by Mr. Kenny. All in favor? Aye. I forgot to ask for discussion. Was there any discussion? Okay. Any opposed? None. Ayes have it. I vote aye too.
We good?
Nope.
Nope.
Good.
Halfway
Good. Do
there.
another one?
Halfway there.
How long you want to stay?
What?
How long you want to stay?
No, I like this. This brings back memories.
Are you,
Okay.
before, go ahead. I was just gonna, before we make a motion on the plan application, are you familiar with the conditions of approval in the staff report?
I am.
Satisfied?
From the principal planner, I want to make sure I'm looking at the same. Second?
Asking that question.
Yeah, design lighting, yeah, the lighting become a big thing, and we'll be cognizant of that. So there's not gonna be any lights in the parking lot, lighting up the parking lot, they'll probably be on the building just to light the area in front of the garages. So we don't bother the neighbors. Say that again.
Downcast.
There you go, yes. Yeah, the big thing with zoning boards and planning boards now is lighting and runoff. That seems to be two of the major concerns.
Okay, so you're good? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on the approval of the preliminary plan for the minor land development.
And through the chair, if you don't mind, let's just make sure that this motion considers a reduction to the parking requirement for this property down to 20 spaces, which is consistent with the town engineer's recommendation.
It'll be the motion including, just include that in the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion. This is the same application. And I am making a motion to approve the preliminary plan application as it is consistent with the standards and findings of fact set forth in Rhode Island General Law 45-2360, as well as the town's subdivision and land development regulations. I will also note that we are approving the reduction to 20 spaces, which is consistent with the town engineer's approval or recommendations. I am also including the 4 conditions of approval on page 6 in the staff report. Is final plan going to be?
Yeah, the final plan is assumed to be administrative.
Final plan will be handled administratively. And that is my motion.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the preliminary plan, which includes the reduction in spaces to 20. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. De Silva. The motion was by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? No further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. All set, Mr. Baldy.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
You too.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Actually, is that ours? That was ours.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Next is item 10.6, Mapledale Warehouse Addition. Minor land development with a use and dimensional variance. How are you, sir?
Hi.
Good. What?
Yeah.
I don't know what was he on the phone? Oh. Okay, sir, names and addresses for the record.
John Medeiros, 28. John Medeiros, 28 Mapledale Street. I'm the owner.
Yep. Might as well get it on the record.
Spencer McComb, architect for the project, 42 West Main Road, Middletown, Rhode Island.
Okay. So you were here not that long ago for
TRC
for the
review.
pre-app.
Yeah, pre-app. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're back. A couple things that we've done is shown an arborvitae row along Driftway, which is kind of the only screening area against the residential for the property. So that will over time fill out with that arborvitae hedgerow, which sits on top of a retaining wall partially right on the property line. So that seems to be what was suggested by staff in the town. Also suggested by the board that reviewed it last time we were here. So we've added that. We've also done a water retention plan that shows the collection of the new impervious area into a swale, as well as confirmed there was a previous survey, but we got it resurveyed between last time and now. And so we're basically proposing, for those that don't remember, is just extending the building along that southerly side, which is in the setback, which does abut the Washington bike path. It is also fairly heavily vegetated now. And that goes beyond the property line toward the bike path. So it's an expansion. What it does is allow for my clients' trucks to be parked now under cover, so out of the public view. We show kind of that the parking is well beyond what we're going to need. It's a gravel parking area. now, which we intend to maintain that. And so really, we're just talking about that we added the screening, did the water retention for the property, which was the two things that were talked about at the previous. And we didn't have any public objection at that meeting, and assume that there's no continuing this time. It's in a residential zone, so it's a non-conforming for that, and we're expanding it. So just to make sure we got all our T's crossed, is just, put this use up before you again. It's been this use from before it was purchased by my client.
Does anyone have any questions?
Run up my cup all the time back there, there'll be no movement of any of that, right? The
Right.
brush back there, that's gonna remain.
Mhm.
Okay, I mean, I guess you're going up on one end.
Yeah,
Addition on the other end.
exactly.
Parking lot's gonna stay the way it is, gravel and whatnot.
Yeah, it'll be maintained over time, but yeah, doesn't get a lot of use. It's mostly for them to park their trucks. They don't do work on the site.
Done there,
Right.
stay other than maybe your own vehicle maintenance, something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We did get this stormwater plan just recently. I just want to point out that our town engineer, I don't believe, has had an opportunity to review it. So
Understood.
we can vote on this, but I just want to let you know it's going to be contingent upon his review. And, if there's any comments, those will have to get worked out before you're going to get final approval.
I wasn't even sure we'd have it by this meeting, but
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted you to know that we can't accept it without his review.
fair.
So we'll just, we noted that you got it in and we appreciate it, but whatever the outcome of tonight's meeting, this will still need to be reviewed before you would get any further approvals from the
And any
town.
comments he would have, we'd be happy
Yep,
to oblige.
Yep, it'll be from him, right, right.
And I might suggest, this is the language I'd suggest as a condition of approval, because you're probably going to jump right through, and it's good to get this language. We suggest adding a condition of approval. The stormwater treatment plan submitted on February 20th, 2026 shall be reviewed and approved according to the town engineer's satisfaction as part of the administrative final plan stage of review.
And that's right here. It's penciled in on the sticky. Okay, this is a public hearing, so I don't see anyone in the audience but the town manager, but is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom? Please raise your hand if you wish to speak out on this particular application for Mapledale Street in Coventry, the building expansion. Anyone on Zoom? Raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any. We never got a motion to do public hearing.
Motion open public hearing.
Motion to make.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion by Mr. Burke, second by Mr. De Silva. We had a lot of applications tonight. All right, I already asked, but going once, going twice. Anybody wish? Oh, yeah, that's right. See, I'm going too fast now. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom that wishes to speak on this application for Mapledale Street building expansion? Raise your hand if you're on Zoom and you want to speak. I don't see anyone. Not seeing anyone. I will entertain a motion to close public hearing. We got a motion by Mr. Price to close public hearing.
Second.
And I have a second by Mr. Burke. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Thanks for the reminder. Okay, so first motion would be to existing buildings.
Non-conforming.
Actually, that's a good point. I'd recommend three motions because there's a use variance, dimensional variance, and then there's the project. The two different variances, I would recommend two separate motions.
Okay, so why don't we take if someone would like to make a motion for the use variance for the expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use in a residential zone.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to I'd like to
Proof.
approve a use variance for expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use in a residential zone for project name Mapledale Warehouse Addition, minor land development, preliminary plan stage, owner John F. and Maria Medeiros, applicant Courtesan Design Architecture, Inc., address 28 Mapledale Street, assessors plot 55, lot 168, zone R20, lot size 0.78 acres, existing use commercial, proposed use commercial with addition. And I'd like to incorporate the findings of fact and the staff report dated February 19th, 2026.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the use variance for the expansion of the non-conforming use. Do I have a second? We have a second by Mr. De Silva, motion by Mr. Kenny. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Next motion would be the dimensional variance for the front and side setbacks.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to approve the dimensional variances for the front and side backs for the same application. And I would like to incorporate the staff report and the findings of fact.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the dimensional variance of front and side setbacks. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Price. So we have a motion by Mr. Kenny, second by Mr. Price. Any discussion, further discussion on the variances? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, so the second second variance passes, and now I will entertain a motion to approve the preliminary plan for the minor land development.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the preliminary plan stage for project name Mapledale Warehouse Addition, minor land development. John and Maria Medeiros, applicant Courtesan Design Architecture, address Mapledale Street, plat 55, lot 168, zone R20, lot size 0.78 acres, existing use commercial. Proposed use, commercial with addition, applicant proposes to construct 2,400 square foot first floor addition consisting of two new garage bays, as well as a 630 square foot second floor addition above the portion of the existing building. These additions would require dimensional variances, front and side backs. In addition, the applicant is applying for a use variance for expansion of pre-existing non-conforming use in a residential zone, which we have already addressed. I would like to include the staff report and the findings of fact. One condition is that the stormwater plan received on February 26, submitted by the applicant, be reviewed and approved by the town engineer. And that before the plan is approved. Final approval.
Perfect.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the preliminary plan. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Kenny, a second by Mr. De Silva. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. All set. Thank you for staying late.
you very
I know
much.
you had to wait
Thank
to
you.
the end.
Wish you luck with the expansion, sir.
Okay. Two more items.
Yeah, let's, we do want to take a formal motion on Hoxie Court to
Okay.
continue.
Okay, I'd like to, yeah. I would like to entertain a motion on, item, I'm sorry, gotta find my agenda again.
It's both the.
Yeah, 10.7, the Hoxie Court Place, public hearing and, preliminary plan for the minor subdivision with the street extension at Hoxie Court and also the bond setting, which was, item 11 or 11.1. I'll entertain a motion to continue those items to the next meeting, which will be April 22nd.
March 25th.
Oh, I'm sorry, March 25th. Getting ahead of myself, yeah. All right, March 25th. Yep, that's right. Okay, so someone wants to make that motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue items 10.7 Hoxsey Court Place and item 11.1 Hoxsey Court Place,
Bond set.
to bond to 25 March 26.
I have a motion to continue. Do I have a second?
Right.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, that motion carries. So now we're up to item 12, which is the recommendations to the town council for the 2027-2031 capital improvement program. And I'll defer to.
I'll
You
be
have
very
anything?
brief. You have received a memorandum. Essentially, the planning commission's role is to provide an advisory recommendation to the town council. The department heads provide the planning staff with their desired capital improvement program. Staff generally do not amend the other department's asks. Our role is to see if, one, anything catches this commission's eye, but primarily to ensure that the activities are consistent with the comprehensive plan. What we're looking for is if there's questions, discussions, we're happy to have it. If you're satisfied, we're looking for a motion to send a favorable recommendation to the council, along with a finding that the proposals are consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Anybody have any questions beforehand? So it's not our job to rank or do anything else. It's just simply to recommend that they are in compliance with the comprehensive plan and to move them to the town council.
Correct. I'd say it's the motion has two components. One is to send generally an overall favorable recommendation on what you see, and then the other is to make a motion that what you see is in conformance with the comprehensive plan.
One motion or two?
That one motion will do.
One motion will do. Okay. I'll entertain a motion to regarding a recommendation to the town council and the and that the items shown in this report here are in fact in accordance with the comprehensive plan.
I'll make a recommendation that we forward the FY 2031 capital improvement program to the town council
That it's in
in compliance.
and that they're in compliance with the comprehensive plan. Do I have a second? I have a second. So I have a motion by Mr. De Silva, second by Mr. Kenny. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Ayes have it. Last on the agenda is the director's report. Doug, if you just got a couple of things you want to share with us, I know we
Yep.
talked.
So
plan update.
nothing on the subdivision land development regulations. We do anticipate within the few months, we may have some considerations for you. But there is something I wanted to touch on with the item located under agenda item 13, initial discussion and recent updates of the draft Coventry Comprehensive Community Plan. I'd like to make a few updates. One is that the town recently put out an ad just to suggest that the plan has been assembled. We have a draft that we feel does represent a complete draft. We're gonna shortly initiate a local review and adoption process, but the ad that's out in the paper today is just letting people know that there's a draft, where to review it, and we're seeking your comments. So really, there has been public engagement about this plan. There has been some time has passed. The public engagement efforts, many of them took place, 3 years ago. We do want to make sure that the public's aware that this plan is coming back up. The formal steps in the process are that the Planning Commission would conduct its own review and approval of the plan. The ultimate decision maker is the town council, who would also conduct its own review and approval of the plan. It's certainly a large policy document. There's a lot in there. My suggestion to the board is that we're going to initiate a advertisement so that at the March meeting of this board, you'd be in a position to review and vote to approve on your part of this plan and send it to the town council. That doesn't mean that in March you have to vote. You may think that at March you want to take that moment in time to discuss, ask questions, and suggest potential additional content, ask questions about the content that's in there. and then review further. Also, you may be in a position where you're comfortable voting in March. My request is that you all received an email leading up to this meeting suggesting where you could find the plan. If you want a hard copy, we'll make one for you, but it's a large document and you can find it digitally as well. I'd ask heading into the March meeting, please send me individually, not as a group, but send me any comments, questions, suggestions, thoughts. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it helps us to get ahead of what you may have and elements that you have specific questions on. That'll gear us up to be a little more prepared in March to answer your questions going into the meeting. Again, if at March we're not comfortable voting at that point, that's totally fine. We can always take our time and continue the matter to April as we see fit. And then following our proceedings and our consideration, it'll go to the council and they'll have an opportunity to again digest the plan, ask questions, consider content changes. After the council votes, it would be locally adopted. Then it goes to the state for the final state adoption. I think it's worth noting that many people here are generally aware the housing chapter of this plan is something we got recent funding for in November of 25. We're actively working on rewriting major sections of the housing chapter. However, the town manager and I, and in previous communications with the council, didn't want to hold up the entirety of the plan while we kept waiting to make certain pieces of it better. We didn't want to hold up the entirety of the plan. So we're moving forward with the plan as we have it now, with a housing chapter that we think has some good policy framework. But while we're reviewing this, the housing area is one where we anticipate coming back for a revised housing chapter after this plan reaches local adoption. I hope that all makes sense. Any questions? Happy to take them.
Yeah, I mean, are there any other forms of public comment to this? Or is it just, there are advertisements out there, but is there any plan for a formal rollout to the public? Are they, like, at our next meeting, are they going to be able to provide us comment?
Yeah.
Is that going to be an issue? Because we may want to go, depending on if that's the case, are we going to still stay here? Or are we going to go somewhere else with that, depending on if people want to comment? We don't know how big that's going to be.
It's hard to gauge. The ad that went into the reminder today was an open-ended call for comments. It did not attribute any certain dates. When we do advertise for the March 25th meeting, that will come with a specific date, and it will ask the public to attend that meeting to provide their feedback. So I'm both asking for the public just to comment to me broadly, and then shortly we're going to be telling the public to plan to attend a meeting if they wish to provide their comment directly to you. Any email that I receive on this, you're going to hear. We are also midstream. We've scheduled a meeting of an ad hoc comprehensive plan advisory committee, which had met on this, 3 years ago. That meeting is going to occur in the first half of March. We're going to take their feedback. Their feedback will be provided to you. So there's going to be several layers of review and information coming to you. And then in terms of the public rollout, we don't anticipate a dedicated, I would guess, a public forum. It really is, the public forums would be the board the boards that it comes in front of. However, we have revised the dedicated website to this, made sure the documents are up there. There's a summary of the history of what has happened with the document, especially in those last 3 years, trying to make sure the public's aware of where this has been, the public feedback that went into it, what's occurred in the last few years, and their opportunity to continue to be active and engaged. It's important that the comprehensive plan does include an opportunity for public feedback, an adequate opportunity for public feedback. If we're getting an overwhelming amount of public feedback and this plan doesn't quite address it all and we're not sure, then I would advise perhaps holding off on a vote in March. It's unclear what level of public feedback we're going to get. I envision a lot of the feedback we might get might be targeted to housing.
Absolutely be targeted.
And that's where I think that that's valuable feedback, but it's important for the public to understand that that feedback is really informing a separate parallel effort where we have engaged a consultant for a price tag of about $90,000 to really give our housing element a boost in all the ways that we want it to.
And I think you're right, Doug, but the public's not going to know that. They're going to hear comprehensive plan. And we've been dealing with these housing issues for for the longest time that have been our biggest thorns, and they're going to come to this. Mr. Chairman, my recommendation would be we don't have as many as we had today, because if they do that, we could be here till midnight. You know, maybe the majority of the time at our next meeting, we may want to, again, depending on how much feedback you get, that's a gauge, right? And on how many emails you get back. But they're not going to know that. And everyone in this town, we have been dealing with these housing issues, and they're not going to know that that's going to be a second piece coming later. And I guarantee you, they're going to be here wanting to talk about that. Unless we address that in some sort of a
I think,
notification.
yeah, I think there's going to be multiple issues. I still think that any development or changes to the west end is going to be something that folks are going to want to speak at. And if need be, if we sense that's the case, we may have to do a special meeting. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it, but I do want to ask this question, a couple questions actually. Out in the reminder, today's publication or submitted to the reminder?
No, today's publication
Okay.
live today.
Okay.
So there's.
I just want to make you aware there's a bunch of people that aren't getting the reminder because they're not delivering the mail.
Yeah, and then I would hope the reminder finds itself to people. It might be a day,
Yeah,
day
it
late,
may or
but,
may not.
And keep in mind, and I think that the comments you just made are valid. In the website, which we attempted to give a nice snapshot of what's happened, we do discuss that parallel effort on the housing. Now, that doesn't mean that anyone coming to these meetings is going to fully understand all the information. It's a complex thing that we're doing, which is seeking to adopt a plan, but having a core component of the plan almost on its own separate later track. I'd still want to use these initial meetings about the plan to get feedback about housing. It's good to get the feedback. People need to understand that their feedback's going in one direction, not necessarily for the plan that may be in front of us. And I think that's still very valuable to get all of that feedback.
And will they still get an opportunity to vet and hear and, as the housing
Yeah.
or when the amendment comes forward? And I just have to ask this question because this thing's been lingering around now, I want to say, some time. And this is a monumental task. I remember different planning directors have started it and then it, fits and starts and then things happen. Who ultimately, who undertook this task? Was it just you, your staff? Did you have other folks? I know you got a consultant for the housing.
Our work is on the shoulders of all the people that came before us. So there's a lot of people that before me put a lot of time into this plan. And I think our staff, I'm proud of what our staff has done to take what we had and get it into really good shape.
And I appreciate that.
And I'm proud of the resources we brought in because, to be honest, I'm not afraid to say that certain elements of the housing chapter, if they need work, let's get the resources to get it to an A+ level housing chapter.
I am so glad. Yeah.
And just to add, Mr. Chairman and board, so the initial was $185,000 contract with Beta. They started it. The housing component was lacking. This $90,000, thankfully, is a grant, should supplement it and get it to the finish line. So you're talking about a document that's almost $300,000 in the works.
Doing this piece though.
No. Different person altogether. Yeah. I know John worked on it when he was here. A lot of pieces to this puzzle. I think Doug's going to take over the finish line with your help and leadership. And also the big component of this is we're also working on the redevelopment plan. So in order for the redevelopment plan through RDA to be approved, we need a comp plan in place. So those two paths need to come together so we can move forward with that, as that is tinged upon the legal proceeding that's going on as well. So kind of a big picture.
Yeah, I know they put something in the paper.
March 11th, I think at the high school, I believe is the next RDA meeting.
Good point. They've got a piece to all of this.
Yes.
To see if you can't keep trying to get kicked down the road in the RDA.
Yeah.
They're going to help us.
Their goal is a complete plan by May. So that is in line with when the council should be able to approve the comp plan. So those two documents together will be the foundation moving forward. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Really, it is, because how many times you hear, "Oh, we don't have a comp plan." Oh, you can't rely on the old one. I mean, it's one of the most we've heard it from the attorneys that come in here and say, "Well, you can't really rely on the comp plan because it's outdated." So since you don't have one, this is what you got to deal with. So I appreciate all the effort.
It's been a big effort. A lot of people before me put a lot of time in to get this document where it is. We've spent time in the last few years trying to play the game between when is seeking for the plan to be better, when is perfect the enemy of good enough. However, for the housing, I think we could shoot to get that housing chapter right where we want it and still work the plan the way we want it to now. But don't come up short on the
yeah.
housing.
I agree, and I appreciate that you're not holding it up for that one other component, because I think it'll lag and it'll follow and it'll fall into place. How many other, and I'm kind of going someplace with this, but how many other municipalities in the state are deficient or as deficient as Coventry in?
The word as deficient will certainly be a difference maker. Coventry is one of the let's just say it's been unapproved for one of the longest periods of time in the state. Our last comprehensive plan was adopted in 1999. We're not even in 2000s. 1999 was when it was adopted. That comprehensive plan became it lost its state approval status in 2004. And so it's been 22 years that we haven't had an approved comprehensive plan. Locally, it's been evergreen. At the state level, it hasn't been approved, and there is a difference there. There's many other communities in the state that don't have an approved comprehensive plan. I don't want to say how many, maybe roughly a third or a quarter of communities in the state may not have an approved comprehensive plan. We've been without one for quite a while.
I'll defer to you guys, but if you do want a lot of input from the public and you don't want to rely simply on an ad in the paper, putting a spin and a press release out to say, hey, guess what? Coventry has finally gotten to this point and it's time for public comment, and we've put ads in the paper, and let it show up on the 6 o'clock news, and you'll probably get more feedback than you will from an ad in the paper.
No disrespect to the reminder. Go to social media.
Yeah.
That's where you'll get people from the whole spectrum.
From the whole
Good, bad, and different. You'll get feedback. That's social media. Better than the reminder. This day and age.
Go to this link, read the comprehensive plan, then give us your feedback.
Yeah. You know, the town's Facebook page. I saw, you know, schools canceled, you know, the updates with the plowing. Put a press release out, something to that nature. It'll
I think that's a fine idea.
And it goes.
Yeah. And I know the council has an interest in the process, and they wanted to have a brief discussion on process at their next meeting, which is going to be Tuesday of next week. So I think I wanted to avoid, we already had put the ad in the paper that's showing up today. That was already in the works. We already had the web presence and getting that updated. I think that those are good ideas. We don't want to come up short. We don't want to be at the final moment of a vote and have a feeling that the public was not even aware that this was the moment was before us. But I do want to get the council's feedback on some overall process and engagement, making sure they're comfortable with what this process is going to include and where it's going. That's true. That is required by state law, that it comes before planning commissions. To be honest, your policymakers, as it comes to land use, this is a document that generally is workshopped at a planning staff and a planning commission level across the state. And then once it's reached this board's satisfaction, then it goes to the council. That's state law.
I may even make the recommendation to some of them that they put on their websites, because they all got websites. Our next
The link,
planning
yeah.
meeting,
Yeah, that's right.
where people can attend, and not just theirs, right? Because we're gonna get the first bite at this. And if we can get as many people, maybe we can head off some of this and make them solid.
Yeah.
And again, thank you for everything you've done. I think the whole board thinks that, and whatever we can do, please let us.
The big ask of you is take a look at the plan via the email link that you got. Take your time, go through it, and let me know your questions, comments. Feel free to jump in with edits. Feel free to say, I think half of this page needs to be rewritten, or that I want to add a sentence, or big questions. You know, I'm not even sure where this is headed. This is where I want to make sure you're as comfortable, and we can do a lot individually with email before the meeting. And then at the meeting, we can bring those comments, concerns. I can come to the meeting with 20 different pages of this person had these ideas and present them. It's good to have that in hand going into the meeting. That makes sense, everybody?
Can I get a paper copy? Staring at digits.
Yeah. No, I got no problem. Anyone that wants one, we'll make one for you. It'll be ready in the office. Jim, we'll make one for you. Do you want to come in tomorrow and the next day? We'll make one for you. I'm a digital guy. When it comes to these big documents, it helps me to digest them with going through it digitally, but I get it. And I mean, this is the document. Yeah, but so you got a couple inches to work through. Thank you very much. It's not an easy lift, and I appreciate this group taking on that work effort.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Come on.
Mr. Price, second by Mr.